check for me and make sure how everything sounds. Oh wait, I don't have my glasses. That's what's wrong. I knew things looked a little weird, but I couldn't figure out why. Now I know why. There we go. Now I can see much better. Golly, couldn't see before. Oh, wow. Okay, so audio sounds good. Oh, wow. All right, cool. Getting started, waiting for some people to show up. Just going to hang out for a little while. I need to move that light a little bit out of the way. Hello, Tina. Happy to see you. Hope everything is going good in your tanks and everything. Let me move that over just a bit. See if we can get that reflection out of my glasses. Jay, what's going on, man? Did you get your yard work finished up? Hopefully everything went well for you. We got to do that tomorrow. Connie, how's it going? Nice to see you here too. Happy that you're able to join us. It feels like this sort of 1 to 4 time frame is working better for people than the 12 to 3 time frame. So I guess we'll probably just keep it like this for a little while. Yeah, Chris, what's going on, man? Nice to see you here. Was that the name in the group? There are 4 Chris Walkers in the new group. Oh, that's the old one? No, it's the old one. But yeah, there's 4 Chris Walkers and 2 Max Collinses. So yeah. Sitting on the porch watching the birds. Nice. 7 p.m. in the UK. Okay, that's not a terrible time. End of the day, just hang out for a little while before you go to bed. That's cool. Cool indeed. Yeah, we from where I'm sitting right here, I can watch the bird feeder while we do this and whatnot. And it's actually empty right now. We have a squirrel that we call 007, and that dude likes to hang upside down from the bird feeder and eat the seeds and whatnot. So that's cool. But yeah, good afternoon, Denny. Happy to see you here too. We're just going to be hanging out for a little while, and then we're going to get rocking and rolling with some questions and talk about tanks and reef keeping and all of that good stuff, which so far all of you I think you've all been here before, so I don't need to make any announcements about that. But very cool. So what's been going on with us lately? It has been an absolute whirlwind. We've been thinking about things that we need to do to make the brand better, and we've started on some of those things by moving that group over to a private group. And we've already approved over 1,000 people since the announcement. So that's going, that's going crazy. And currently we probably have another 600, 700 now. It's adding about 100 every 30 minutes to the amount that we have to approve. So it's been a crazy amount of work. So you guys just bear with us. We're going to get there, and it's going to be a better space once all that is finished up. I should have cleaned these things because, yeah, would you clean these for me, please?
Yeah, got a question.
I got a question? Yeah. I can't read it now.
Can Montipora sting each other?
Can Montipora sting each other? Not usually. Normally, Montipora, they kind of coexist together. But I'll never say never on that, because it's always just dependent on the individual coral. But a lot of times you will see, especially like the encrusting Montiporas, where they begin coming together, they'll just sort of meet each other, and then that growth kind of stops, and then they'll grow in the other directions. So usually those are okay to touch. I've seen at least a few tanks where not the encrusting kind, like Montipora digitata, was actually growing within the branches of each other. So that's always pretty cool to see too. But most of the time, no, they're not gonna sting each other. Let's see. Listening to you on my way to get the new light. Very cool. Yeah, I think you're gonna be happy with that. That is it's a really good light. I just don't have any experience with it personally. So I think you're going to be good to go. Mike says hello. Well, hey, back to you, Mike. Hope you're doing good, having a good day. Another great day, says Rod. That's awesome. Aquashella Dallas yesterday and today. Went yesterday and it was crowded. Yeah, Aquashella is always going to be crowded like that. It's one of the most popular ones, just like Reef Palooza. So it's always like that. So yeah, we've lost a couple of fish out of the tank, which actually I forgot to clean the glass, and I didn't turn the lights down this time so that when we do our tank tour in a little while, we actually get good looking coloration on the corals for that. But we've lost a couple of fish. We don't know what happened to them. It was a purple firefish named Prince that we've had for like 3 years. And we also lost our possum wrasse named George for George Jones because his nickname was Possum. Don't know what happened to him. I do have a big I have a big brittle starfish in this tank, and he's probably tip to tip when he stretches out. He's probably 14 inches across his legs. So I think maybe he got a taste for small, slow-moving fish, but I don't know that for sure. You know, both of those fish were 3 years old, something like that. It's also entirely possible they jumped into my overflow, and it's really hard for me to get back there and see down in that thing. So I haven't done that yet, but I do need to check back there to see if they're back there, which they'll be fine. They're going to get food. I don't turn my pumps off when I feed my tank. Survival of the fittest. Go get it. So some of that food goes over the overflow, so they'll be fine. I'll have to eventually get them out of there. 3D printing trucker says, has anyone used the Coral Life sand and had a big ammonia spike in a new setup? Not that one specifically, but I have personally tested the water in several different bags and brands of live sand, and probably about half of them had ammonia up around 1 ppm. So it's entirely possible that you experience that for sure. Can't say on that one because I didn't test that specific brand, but it is something that can happen. Yeah, so it wouldn't surprise me if that was the case. The Jakes just lost your first bubble tip. Oh, that sucks, man. Is that rain?
I don't know what that was.
Oh, I think so. Yeah, it's water running in another room. But that sucks. Hate it when we lose things. That's never a good time. Nobody wants that. Chris says, I feel more relaxed now. I have installed a talent cell battery backup. So battery backup today. Don't know what talent cell means. Maybe that was a mistype. Been working on redundancies before investing in more livestock. That is a great thing to do. It's an awesome thing to do. At this point, I was having this conversation with somebody yesterday or last evening. At this point, with generators being the cost that they are, there's really no reason why anybody with a reef tank should not have a little small generator just for the tank. I mean, you can get them on Amazon for under $200 now. I mean, we pay more than that for a fish sometimes. So skip one fish and get that generator. That way, if anything happens, you just plug your tank into the generator and it's good. You don't have to stress about it. You don't have to worry about it. So yeah, having backups and redundancies is definitely awesome. Let's see. John Gordon says, just want to say hi. Got to go work in a minute, taking apart and rebuild the calcium reactor. Okay, man. Use your cell phone to look in the back. Yeah, that's usually what I do, is use my phone to get back there. I put it on video mode, and I get back there with the flashlight, turn the flow off, and I can see in there. It's still really hard for me to get back there. But that's what I need to do. Yeah, trucker, I think that's probably where that ammonia came from. Let's see. Jake says, I'm a newbie to reefing. Enjoy the content. Well, that's awesome. That's 8 o'clock here in South Africa. Very cool. Very cool. Well, I'm glad we have people hanging out with us from all over the world. That's always nice. Trucker says, I'll pull switch on the house to start the generator, flip switch in the other direction. Poof, whole house has power again. Yeah. That's awesome when you have those whole home generators set up there. That's like, those are amazing. We love that. Is that tank from Coral Connection? No, this tank is not from there. I know that it's not from there, but I don't know exactly where it is from. It's a Planet Aquariums tank. And one of my friends bought it some years back, and he was downsizing, moving to a new place after some stuff, and he sold it to me. But no, it didn't come from Coral Connection. My dad had a purple Stylopora take up nearly the entire back glass. That's cool. That I've got a right there. That little frag is right dead center of my overflow, and it is a slime ball, I believe. I forget the names of some of them sometimes, but yeah, it's going to take over my overflow and have branches just coming off from the overflow and stuff, kind of hide that overflow eventually. Let's see. I have MTS. Yeah, me too. For those of y'all who don't know what that is, it's multiple tank syndrome. Busy with a 500-liter aquascape to keep busy this time of the night. I got you. Yep. That's a pretty decently sized tank. James Nicholson says, what is your take on Trident, and do you use their calibration solution to calibrate? My numbers are constant. Neptune says as long as it's in their range, it's okay. Hard to keep stability that way. Any suggestions? So I'm not super familiar with Trident. I've never been able to have one, and I've never used one. There are some people in the Book of Faces group that are very competent Trident users. So you might want to jump into that space. You can get there from my website, which is reefrookies.com, and make that same post in there, and you'll probably get some really good answers. Unfortunately, it's just something that I'm just getting into, looking at the Trident thing. It just wasn't a thing that was ever an option for me to do. I ended up with some Hydros gear used from a swap meet for really cheap, so that got me into computer automation, and that's kind of what I've stuck with over the years. I can say that will probably change at some point in the future. You know, I mean, I want to be able to try all the systems, so I have experiences with as many things as possible. So at some point, I may have a Trident on some system, one, that I have, but right now I don't have one. Let's see. Oliver Murphy's in the house. What's up, my bud? Happy to see you here. Hope you're having a good Sunday. Oliver is a friend. He's close by, and he's got some cool things going on too for the reefing community as well. And if you're down around the New Orleans area in Louisiana, the guy in the chat, Oliver Murphy, owns Hypnotic Aquatics. He did not pay me to say this. He doesn't even know what I'm about to say. So suspense. Might be good, might be bad. You never know. No, but I think he's a really cool dude. He owns Hypnotic Aquatics. He does fresh and saltwater tank setup. Like, he'll come to your place, build your thing for you, get it all set up. He does freshwater ponds as well. And he does maintenance too. So if you have a tank and you have, for some reason, you can't take care of it right now, give Hypnotic Aquatics a call. He will come out, take a look at your system, and y'all can come up with a thing, and he can take care of your system for you. And like I said, he had no idea that I was going to say that. I actually didn't plan to say that. I just saw him in the chat, and he's my boy, so I figured I'd give him a little shout out.
He also helped you move this.
Oh, yeah. Let me mention that, too. He also came over here and helped us move this 180 and get it all set up with the fish room and everything after I had my back surgeries. And I still owe him for that. So yeah, but if he knows if he needs anything from me, he can call. But anyway, moving on. I got a free Lobo, never had one, but I've seen them on the sand bed. Should I keep it on the sand bed or put it on the rockscape? So they don't really. All right, wait a minute. Let me make sure I'm thinking of the right one. Yeah, Lobophilia. So down on the sand, down at the sand is good, but not on the sand. So find like a flat rock or something like that and mount that frag to the top of that rock. The sand can irritate the flesh. Doesn't always happen, but it can happen. So for the best success, I would recommend elevating it just a little bit, but down at the bottom, if that makes sense. Worldwide Coral Slime Ball. It's not a Worldwide Corals coral. It came from Reef, but I just don't remember which one it is. I think it's either a slime ball or a green slimer. I don't recall the difference. Yo, we got a super chat in there. I'm a little bit behind, but I'm going to get there to it. Let's go ahead and take care of that. Jay says, shopping CO2 scrubbers, looking for something good sized. What do you run on your tank or any others you'd recommend? Well, thank you for the super chat, Jay. Those are definitely helpful. And yeah, I really appreciate that. So I think the ice cap large CO2 scrubber might be the biggest one on the market. I don't recall seeing one larger than that. Now, certainly you could DIY something if you wanted to. You could literally drill a hole and stick a tube in the bottom of a 5-gallon bucket, or something, and DIY your own CO2 scrubber for like a massive one. But the ice cap is a really nice product. I have a 3D print that allows you to hang that ice cap on the wall. It has a hanging mount, but they don't give you anything to hang the hanging mount on. It's just meant to hang on a rimmed sump or whatever. But I have a 3D print where we'll go around there and take a look at it in a minute. Well, actually, it's not mounted on my control board. I had to move everything. So right now it's just sitting right on top of my skimmer, but I am going to get it mounted back up on my control board. But yeah, I think it's a really well-made product. I haven't had any, well, that's not true. I have had one issue with mine. They use little thin nylon screws to hold the lid on. And if they get stuck sometimes, you really got to be careful when you take those screws out, because you can break one, and I did. So to correct that, I'm going to have to drill those holes out and tap them for a larger nylon bolt, like a 14 by 20 or something like that. Because I think it's about a little 4mm bolt or something that they use to hold that lid on. It's a little on the weak side. So that's what I would say about that. But yeah, I think it's a good product. Otherwise, it does have an O-ring, seals up, has a water trap already built into the bottom. So that large ice cap scrubber, I think you'd be happy with that for your tank. That said, I don't like the ice cap CO2 scrubber media. I've had several bags of it that didn't do anything at all. You and I have already talked about the media that I use. You saw it on the floor in my thing, so that's always cool. When people pick up on that kind of thing. Observant folks, you guys are. But so that's the way that I would go. And again, I appreciate the super chat. That really helps. Thank you so much. Well, let's see. Connie said, was sold what I was told was a rock flower nymph. Turns out it's a Maximini carpet. It's really cool. Not what I thought I was getting. I don't think the guy at the LFS knew what he was selling me. It's possible. It's possible. Maximini carpet nymphs are still cool. I like them. James says my numbers aren't consistent. To the question about Trident. Okay, so yeah, absolutely. One of the things I do know about that sort of system is you do need to routinely clean and calibrate your probes. So some people get obsessive with it and they do it once a week. They clean and calibrate it, but it gets expensive. Those calibration reagents are not cheap. So probably once a month at least. Sorry, I got a cough drop in already. Probably once a month at least. You want to go ahead and take that thing out, clean it really well, go ahead and put it back in, calibrate it, do everything you need to do at least once a month. But yeah, that's the cost of having that system, is those calibration reagents are expensive. Let's see. Rod says, I have a 120-gallon tank at a Jabo MCP 150, having a hard time not blowing my corals away. Any suggestions? Sometimes the suggestion is just that you just have to downsize the wave makers. I've helped people set up tanks before, and they pick their products, and they get it, and it's just too much. Otherwise, I have seen people block off. I don't recall if that's a gyre style, the long one, or if it's a pod style, but I've seen people use like heavy foam and other things to sort of restrict the amount of flow that the pumps can make and stuff like that. There's lots of DIY ways that you could do those kinds of things. But yeah, it might just be a situation of having to get a smaller wave maker, or, two smaller ones is always better than one big one. So unfortunately, there's that. Or you might be able to aim it more up towards the surface, where it hits the surface and it's breaking the surface and slowing some of that flow down before it actually gets to the corals. That's another option too. Let's see. All right. Careful with carpet nymphs. They may eat some slow moving fish and inverts. Very true. Very true. It can happen. I've had it happen to me. Camaro says, hey, back to you. And thank you so much for being a subscriber. This cough drop is working really well. I'm about drooling over here. Oliver says, yes, sir. I'm doing some gardening today. Well, I'm glad you can. It's about to storm here. Much love to you, bro. What the heck? What the heck? Nothing, man. Anytime I see you in here, you're going to get a little shouty, man. You know that. Sunday weekly maintenance day. That is Wednesdays for me. I take a little break I say I take a break. It's usually my longest day of the week because almost always something, breaks or goes wrong or does something stupid. And then I have to spend half the day freaking trying to fix it, All right, let's see. John says we chat next. We should talk about a trident. All right. We can talk about it for sure. Josh says DIY CO2 scrubber. I just built my own caulk stirrer and it works great. Sweet. I love a good DIY project. I would DIY everything if I could. But what I have learned is if I try to DIY everything, I end up DIYing nothing. I buy all the crap to do it and then I never do it. And then I have to sell all the crap that I bought to do the thing that I end up just buying a thing to do it because I never get to do the DIY thing. So yeah, I have to pick and choose my DIY products, and 3D printing has ruined me. You hear me? I don't want to make anything anymore. I just want to 3D print it, which helps, honestly, because I can just do that sometimes. Do I have an opinion of the Red Sea forehead dosing pump? I've never personally used one, but I know a few people who do, and they seem to like them. From what I can tell, they don't really have any complaints about them. They work like they're supposed to. And, every company is going to have one bad product here or there, or one that's broke, or one that doesn't work, or, so on and so forth. But that one seems to be one of the better ones. There's some things from Red Sea that I would say most people don't need, but that particular product I think is a pretty good one. It's probably going to get the job done. Happy Sunday. Plan to do some tank maintenance during the stream, but my wife has about 3 dozen plants that I need to get in the ground. Tanks are going to have to get in line. Wow, that's a lot of plants to plant. You know what I mean? Terry asks, anyone tried AF all-in skim system? Thinking of changing. I'm so sorry, you guys. I'm having sinus issues today. Thinking of changing from the Red Sea 600. Terry, I'm not sure what you're talking about there. Yes, Tina, hang on just a second. We'll get to that. Let me see if I can figure out what Terry means here. I'm behind on the comments quite a bit, you guys, so bear with me. But I'm trying to make sure I get to everybody. Terry, if you don't mind clarifying what you mean, we can talk about that. So a CO2 scrubber, the purpose of a CO2 scrubber, let me back up a little bit. So the reason that people use CO2 scrubbers is so that it takes the carbon dioxide out of the water, which increases your pH. So if you're having a pH issue, if it's swinging all over the place, there may be another cause, but this helps with that. Or if the pH is low, you can put a CO2 scrubber on your skimmer and it will suck that CO2 out, increasing the pH. And sometimes you can see it increase it by a lot. Some people, they put one on their system, it goes from 7.8 to 8.4, 8.5, something like that. So the time when you would need one is when you have low pH, anything lower than 7.8. Forgot to turn off my sounds, but it'll be all right. Anything lower than 7.8, and you want to bring that up and keep it up consistently without dosing anything chemically to the aquarium. You would employ a CO2 scrubber. You're going to probably have to change the media weekly or every other week, and it's going to get that job done for you. So that's kind of when you would need to employ that. Caleb says, where do you think people fail the most when making? Huh? Yeah, I don't know. I can't really say, Caleb. It's that's sort of a question that isn't really about reefing. It's more about content creation, and that's a whole different ball game, really. Jamie says, I have the same question as Tina. Well, okay, cool. Well, I hopefully the answer that I just gave helped you with that. CO2 builds up in your house because you breathe out CO2, which brings pH down. Scrubber eliminates that before it goes into your tank. Correct. Yes. Thank you, Josh. What else do we have here? Any Duncan keeping tips? I have a frag with 1 large head, 5 babies. Earlier this week, spot fed it a pellet of food today, and it about doubled in size. So yeah, Duncans do appreciate a little bit of like spot feeding if they're not catching what you're putting in the tank when you're feeding your fish and whatnot. So I always, when I mix up, especially my frozen, like frozen mysis and brine, when I thaw them out and get ready to feed the tank, I always take a pipette and suck some of that up and give it directly to my Duncans. That is one of the corals that I do actually feed on purpose. There's not many. My rock flower anemones I do, and my Duncan, and my Blastos. Blastos are another one. You know, big head LPS. They like to be fed. I do not spot feed my torches and hammers or anything like that. They're more of a filter feeder kind of thing. And speaking of which, yeah, they look great today. Well, some of them do. I've got 3 that are mad, and they've just been mad for like a month and a half, and I don't know why. Can't figure it out. But so yeah, you can feed your Duncans. That's one of the things. Duncans are very adaptable, but they tend to prefer lower par. So if you have it up high in the tank, you might want to bring it down a little bit. But on the flip side of that, they do want a good amount of light, moderate sort of range. So if they're very low or shaded, bring them into a little bit more light, and they might fill out a little bit better for you. Kevin says, hey, I did the same question on the group. Just wanted to ask here again for the chat, what's your thought on the Tampa Bay saltwater live rock to kickstart a new reef? I'm about to start my 200 gallon. So that is a loaded question. The best thing that you can do for a reef tank, in my opinion, is live rock and live sand from the ocean. You can literally jumpstart that tank beyond the ugly phase. Nitrogen cycle, ugly phase, you just skip it when you put live rock into the tank. But it comes with the caveat that you might get a few things in there that you don't want. So how I recommend people go forward in doing that, if you're going to set your whole tank up with nothing but that live rock, number one, you're going to have a 6-month, 8-month jump start, maybe even a year jump start on setting up a tank with dead base rock, right? But you got to deal with those things that maybe you didn't want. So when you set the tank up, don't immediately put any new corals, new fish, anything like that in it. Let the tank run. You can ghost feed the tank if you want to, and then either get some traps or make some traps. You could DIY these things out of like water bottles and stuff like that. And you can bait the predators that you might have, like gorilla crabs, pistol shrimps, any bad worms like the Euclid or Unicid, however they say them. It's like a bobbit worm, but it's not a bobbit worm. You can bait them out and get them to go into the traps, and you can take them out. And also during that time, you can inspect the rock for aptasia or Majanos or anything like that. You can take a rock out, get rid of those, do whatever you got to do. So once you set the tank up with the new live rock, give it a couple of weeks, and just look at the tank and see what's in there. Also, at night, you can use a flashlight with a red lens. And a lot of marine animals they don't see that red, or it doesn't scare them as much. So you can get in there with that red flashlight, and you can tweezer stuff out. You can literally just grab things if you need to and take it out of the tank. But I still do think that it's one of the best ways to set a tank up for sure. Caleb says, I'm in the process of building a DIY AIO for a 60 breeder. Oh, that's cool. How do you judge the amount of width or overflow teeth so that it functions properly? So I basically just eyeball it. As long as you have about 1/4 of an inch of space in between the teeth, you know, like negative space for water to pass through, and then just take it all the way across the top, or have as many as you can, you're going to be fine. I 3D print those things sometimes, and it's usually about a 5mm tooth and a 5mm gap in between, 1/4 inch, something like that. 3/8 and 3/8 works too. But yeah, it's just, long as that's one of the things that you can use the that looks about right method. It doesn't have to be perfect. Wild Heart says hi. Well, hello back to you. Hope you're doing good, having a good Sunday. Oh my goodness, cat just screamed. Thinking about updating my lights on my 220 to Radeon G6 XR30s. I can't decide on Pro or Blue. Gimme. Look at this thing here. Look at it. This is its favorite thing to do. It loves to be upside down. Like, I mean, it's not even bothered. It just, you know, it's like, what are we doing? Anyway, this is Ma'am, or AKA Maxine, and also stupid, and quit that, and get out of my bedroom, and stinky, and also Madam Poopy Toe Beans, cat of many names. Anyway, Radeon G6 XR30s, Pro or Blue. I don't really know. I can't really say. I haven't looked that deeply into the settings. I don't think you're going to be unhappy with either one of them. But those are definitely some high-end lights. They do really well. They coral colors up really well. That's for sure. Let's see. Aquaforest All-In Skim. Oh, that new Aquaforest skimmer with the 2 CO2 scrubbers on it. I didn't know that's what that thing was called. I don't even remember what the question was. Oh, you're thinking about switching to that from a Red Sea 600. It's a good skimmer. I saw it at RAP. It's built really well. I do think that depending on the size of your tank and the CO2 volume available, or that's in your room or whatever, that people are going to end up changing that CO2 media out quite a bit. It is a recirculating model, so that cuts down on the speed at which the media get used up. But I think you're probably going to have to hit that media at least every week, if not a little sooner than that. But ultimately, that depends on the CO2 concentration that you have in your space. But it does look like a good thing. It looks like it's going to be a good product. I have my own ideas about that and products that I am going to be trying to implement in my 3D printing store as soon as possible. But goodness gracious, I have been so busy. I am so far behind on designing 3D prints because we've been so busy. I just haven't had time to do it. I mean, some of those things takes me weeks to get the design just right, because my 3D print designs fit perfectly. And I'm very specific about that. I don't wing anything. If it ain't perfect, I don't sell it. Let's see. Closed loop system. Yeah. I got you. Okay, we talked about that skimmer a little bit. When doing a whole teardown and restart, what are some ideas for where and how to keep just the invertebrates? What do you feed them without detritus and algae in the tank? So, Jamie, hi, it's you. This is Jamie from the.
I said hi to her.
Oh, okay, cool. So for your invertebrates, I mean, you can just set up a little small tank. It's always best if it's cycled, but it doesn't have to be. You just have to keep real close tabs on ammonia. And they make like algae wafers that you can put in there to feed them. You can also get dry nori seaweed, and you can put some of that down in the bottom on a clip, and they will go to it and they will munch that stuff. Unfortunately, in your case, and I was going to talk to you about this when we talk on Tuesday, you might have to have 2 QTs So you might have to go grab another 10-gallon or another little 5-gallon, just something cheap. You could even use a 5-gallon bucket if you don't care how it looks, because you're going to have and this is for your situation specifically, you're going to have your inverts separated from your fish if you're going to be medicating the fish. And that goes for everybody, actually. So, yeah, we're just going to have to figure that out one thing at a time, Jamie. But 5-gallon buckets, big plastic tote container, that'll work as well. You just got to make sure that you have the correct temperature and a little bit of water flow and some oxygenation, and they'll be fine. But yeah, you can feed them some of those algae wafers or algae pellets or seaweed on a clip or anything like that. Some people, no, that's freshwater. Never mind. Hang on. I need a Jolly Rancher. My throat already hurts. I have 3 adults living in the house and 2 large dogs. My next DIY is a CO2 scrubber as well. Going to make a container for scrubber media connected to the air intake of the protein skimmer. Yeah, that's super cool. They're very easy to make. It's probably one of the easiest DIYs in the hobby. And I have a whole video here on my YouTube channel about that exact thing, where I show you like step by step how to make an easy one. But it's just about the mindset. So you might want to look at that video and then make something a little nicer than what I did. That was just sort of a temporary thing, just to show people how it could be done super easy. Connie says, hey to the kitty. Jay wants to know, how often am I burning through CO2 scrubber media? So I do have the large size scrubber, and I cook that media every 2 weeks. It has to be changed out. And honestly, I'm running behind on it because I had big issues on my last 2 days that I tried to do tank maintenance. And my pH is holding at 8.0, so it's okay in this current configuration with the old media, but it is time for me to change it for sure. James says, I saw your video about Triton. My system is on auto water change at about 10% a week, which is about 40 gallons. I use Fritz RPM salt, which they say has 70 plus trace elements. How do I decide to do it or not? So James, what you could do as sort of a deciding factor is you could just order one of the Triton trace element. You could order one of the Triton ICP tests and just run one and then get the results back from that. If you need to send them to me, that's fine. Or if you want to like talk to Triton about it, that's fine too. I don't think that Triton would recommend that service to you if you didn't need it. I feel like they would have the integrity to say that. But I suspect, depends on your tank setup, but I suspect that your tank probably would benefit from it. Hang on. I have to sneeze. It didn't go away, but it isn't happening either. But you could do the one ICP test. You could take a look at that, see if your tank is deficient in anything, even though you're doing those auto water changes. Stuff like iodine and fluoride and a few of the other ones, they get burnt out or get used up really quickly in like 24 hours. So being able to dose that every day to the tank is going to be better than doing that 10% once a week water change. Sorry, I'm having trouble today, you guys. All this head stuff, I think I'm getting over a head cold, to be honest with you. Do you sell or plan on selling your STL files? No, unfortunately, I don't. I've had bad experiences with that before, so it's not something I'm going to be doing. And it was a situation where just a few people ruined it for everybody else. But I spend hundreds of hours on these files sometimes. And so unfortunately, I get it, but it's not a thing that I'm able to do. So just out of curiosity, are you saying it's okay to make a QT out of a 5-gallon bucket? I'm strapped for space. Absolutely. You can make a QT out of anything. I've QT'd things in buckets and totes from Walmart, plastic totes, just clean them out. I mean, if it holds salt water and isn't reactive, you can make a QT out of it. It doesn't matter what it is. A 5-gallon fish tank, Yeah, whatever. Doesn't matter. As long as you can give the animals the environment that they need, that's the only thing that really matters. The container itself doesn't matter at all. But I mean, obviously you can't do it in, like a steel bucket or anything like that that's going to react with the salt water. Plastic is going to be your best bet. But yeah, you can definitely QT or do medicated baths or whatever in like 5-gallon buckets for sure. David says, thoughts on oversized skimmer. I have a 20-gallon with a 30-gallon sump. I want to get the Tunes 9410, minimum tank size is 79 gallons. I want to buy once, and I'm thinking about the future. That skimmer would be fine in that tank. What I find is that most skimmers are overrated. So when you say, a skimmer is rated for a 100-gallon tank, it really can't handle a heavy bioload in a 100-gallon tank. Usually those recommendations are, so like in this case, it would be the skimmer's rated for 79 gallons. That's 79 gallons with a light bioload. You know what I'm saying? So usually skimmers are overrated a bit. So in your situation, I think that skimmer would be fine for the tank size that you have. And also, if you upgrade, it'll probably still be okay up to a light bioload. If you go past light into a medium or heavy bioload, you might have to upgrade. But you should be okay. And those are good skimmers. So I think it'll be fine. My pH bounces from 8.3 to 8.1 in a week and then goes back up, trying to stabilize this. So you have a pH. Let me think about that. Let me turn that down, because that can get kicked off at any minute, and you guys would really see what my life is like. Sometimes it never stops. Ding, 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 just right back to back to back. So here's what I would say, Josh, because I don't have all of the facts that I need, and it's hard to have a conversation because I'm behind on the chat. Make sure you're checking your pH at the same time every day. It's going to be highest when the lights have been on all day, and it's going to be lowest right before the lights come on in the morning, because there's a 24-hour, it looks like a sine wave, right? So if this is your baseline, it'll come up above when the lights are on all day, and it'll go down like this, and next day it'll go up, next day down. It looks like that. So if you check one day in the evening and then one day in the morning, and that's a week apart, it'll look like you have this weekly sine wave, but that's actually not what's happening. In any case, a movement from 8.3 to 8.1 is nothing that I would worry about. I would not chase that. That's fine. It's not going to hurt anything, and those numbers are good. So, I really wouldn't worry about it. Jamie says, would a CO2 scrubber be beneficial in a bar with smokers? We have 3 tanks in the bar, 2 fresh, 1 salt, and we allow smoking. Just thought of the potential harm on them. So what I would recommend is running all the time, full time, running activated carbon in all of your tanks. So I would recommend using it in a reactor, a carbon reactor, rather than just using it in a bag, and having that reactor running 24/7. I am having a tough time today.
Those Jolly Ranchers are super juicy. You probably swallow it.
I don't know how they put juice into a hard candy, but I've got a Jolly Rancher, and I am literally choking just trying to talk, but my throat hurts. All right.
Do you want cough drops?
What about coffee?
I can make some coffee. I'm always down.
Yeah, let's have some coffee. I've got a cough drop in my pocket or on the table, so I might try that, but coffee might be better. Let me get back to where I was. So the smoking in the bar. Run activated carbon on all of your tanks, because anything that's in the air is going to get drawn into our tanks through surface gas exchange and also through skimming and things like that. I'm actually working on another product that I don't want to say exactly what it is, but it is for this exact scenario. Well, maybe not this exact scenario, but it would be helpful in this exact scenario. It will be a 3D print, and it'll be a thing that we can add to our system to assist in this problem. But it's not designed yet. It's in here, but that's as far as it's been. But yeah, so I would recommend that. I mean, worst case scenario, I would buy some sort of an air purifier for that space. And I mean, I've seen your bar. It's very cool, by the way. But you know, like those smoke eater things. I don't know how expensive those things are or anything, but I don't know if they have like residential versions of those things. So that might be a consideration too. But definitely, I would always run some carbon just to help pull any of those sort of things out that are getting into the water. Bye, Susie.
Bye.
Drum Freak says, I've recently decided to get back into keeping a marine reef tank. Cool. I purchased a 25-gallon Nano. Appreciate the content. The videos have helped a lot. Awesome. Very cool. Happy to have you back in the hobby. Ryan says, how can I talk my wife into a saltwater aquarium? I've been staring at them over a decade. You got any suggestions?
No, I mean,
My wife is awesome, dude. So she basically just lets me do whatever the hell I want to do within reason. But
flying airplanes.
except flying airplanes. I have been banned from flying airplanes due to my history of everything I own with an internal combustion engine tears up for some reason. And look, I'm a car guy. I've built motors. I enjoy that kind of thing. I'm not an idiot. You know, I know what I'm doing, but like everything I own with an engine breaks for some reason. So airplanes have been nixed. Now y'all know that. But no, I don't know how to help you, my man. I don't know. Maybe just watch there was recently a show on like Netflix or something. It was called Chasing Corals, I believe. It was really awesome. You know, watch that together and maybe learn about the ecosystem or something, and maybe it'll spark some interest.
Find the prettiest fish that he can find and like send her video.
My wife said, find the prettiest fish that you could find that you would also want in your tank and start sending videos of that to your wife to get her interested. Josh says, I have a pH monitor. Okay. Well, that's good. I think everything that I said before still really applies though, Josh. I mean, you could chase that stability and see if you could make it a perfectly flat line, but that's going to be hard, man. As long as you're up around the 8.1 to 8.3 range, I think you're probably okay. One thing that you might do if you don't already have done is if you have a sump or a refugium or anything like that, run that light for that on an opposite schedule from the light for your main display. So my 40-gallon Fuge tank, the light comes on about 6 p.m. and runs till like 3 a.m. when the main display lights are off. That helps offset the pH just a little bit. David says, my system total 50-gallon. Wait, my system total 50-gallon, the tons 9410 minimum is 79, rated for 264. Okay, so in that situation, you're probably going to have to run that skimmer on and off through parts of the day. It is possible to over skim a tank. So you might have it run for 6 hours and then stay off for 18, run for 6, stay off for 18, something like that. I don't find that skimmers work really well when you do that. They just don't seem to work very well. So you'll just have to play with it. That definitely is oversized in that case. I misunderstood what you were saying earlier. That's my bad. Jamie says, one in each of the freshwater tanks as well, or is that a thing? Yeah, it is a thing in freshwater too. There's still gas exchange happening at the surface through the surface agitation on your freshwater tanks. But I mean, if it's been that situation with them for years and you haven't seen any issues, then maybe don't change it on the freshwater ones. But I would change it. I would keep carbon in the saltwater one just in case. They're quite a bit more sensitive than the freshwater ones. And thank you, by the way, for being a YouTube channel member. That absolutely means a ton, and I really appreciate it. The Jakes says, as a rule of thumb, how often should we change carbon in our tanks? Should we do it as preventative measure? Yes. So, well, there's two questions there. If you're going to have carbon, it's recommended to change it every couple of weeks, depending on how heavy the bio load is in the tank, maybe once a week, but usually every other week during your tank maintenance is fine. Now, should you always run carbon? That is a huge debate in the hobby. Certain tanks, yes, I would say you should. Tanks like in Jamie's scenario where they're smoking actively around the tank all the time, or tanks that have corals with toxins that are more predisposed to release those toxins, like leathers. So tanks with a lot of leathers, I would recommend running carbon all the time. Tanks that do not have tangs and angelfish in them. So like if it was like an Acropora tank with anthias fish and stuff like that or something, yeah, I would say all the time. But if you have tangs and you have angels, I would say no, not all the time. With the caveat that you could run it all the time as long as you're using a high quality carbon. Carbon dust can cause head and lateral line erosion in some fish. It gets stuck under their scales and it kicks that process off. So you have to be careful with that. But a lot of people do it. A lot of people run it 24/7 and have success, and a lot of people don't do it and have success. I don't think running or not running carbon is going to like make or break your tank, but it is a good tool to have in the toolbox if you happen to need it. All right. So let's keep going. James says, I have Reef Breeders lights on my 375 that's pretty heavy coral and fish load, trying to figure out if I need a little more cool blue. My cool blue is about 38%. How do I know to turn that up? So really it's going to be based on par and also visual, what the tank looks like to you, unless you start going down that deep rabbit hole that is perfecting your spectrum for your tank.
No, you're good.
I'm good?
Looking at you.
Okay.
You're cute.
She looks at me sometimes and I'm like, what's wrong? It's trauma from past life experiences. But what was I talking about? I'm winging it today. Yeah, no, it's good. Spectrum. So you can go down a very deep rabbit hole about lighting spectrum in your tank and trying to dial things into perfection using spectrometers where you're measuring the spectrum rather than the par. And really par is not even the thing that we should honestly be measuring. PAR stands for it's photosynthetically active radiation. There's another one called PER, which is photosynthetically usable radiation. And that's the actual thing that the corals can use for photosynthesis, which is really the number that we should be measuring. But those meters are more expensive. It's a more complicated thing to understand and all that stuff. And we're all still trying to really just wrap our heads around PAR even at this point, because it gets super complicated. So what I would say to try to boil that down into a statement that I could tell you about your problem is, number one, base it on your PAR values. If you can get your PAR set where you need it to be, and also have the tank with a visual look that you enjoy looking at, that's the sweet spot. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. It depends on the lights. Some lights don't have powerful enough LEDs in certain spectrums to do both. So when it's like that, you have to have your PAR set through the most time of the day where it needs to be. And then at the end of the day, or at your peak viewing time, then you change the lights to be what you visually perceive is the best for your viewing time. So for example, if any of this is making sense, I hope it is. For example, the pop bloom lights that I used to have on the tank before, the UV channel on those lights was very weak. It was there and it would give color to the tank, but it was very weak. So it would not overpower the white and blue spectrums and make the corals really fluoresce when those other spectrums were on. So for the most part of the day, I would have the white and blues cracked up, giving the corals what they need. And at the end of the day, the whites would go off, the blues would go down, and the UV would go all the way to 100%, or actually it stayed at 100%. But I would do that because it would make the corals pop. The tank would look almost dark, but the corals would be fluorescing. So that's what I'm trying to get at here. I hope all that made sense. Mike said, we car guys always push our limits. Yeah. Oh, I don't even have to push no limits, man. I could just buy something and it'll break in 2 months. Guaranteed. Yeah. Almost everything I buy, I almost have to buy it twice because the first one's going to tear up. Promise. And it's not because I'm stupid and don't know how to use things. It's just that's the way it goes. I bought a brand new 2002 Chevy S10 pickup truck, and the rear end blew itself to pieces in 4,000 miles. So that's just one example. There are many. Almost everything that I buy is like that. The Jake said, just tell your wife you have a midlife crisis. What do you think of the Higer 35-watt reef light, the 20-inch one? I actually don't know. I just saw maybe yesterday that light was a thing that even existed. I have not played with one yet. I don't know anything about it yet. I suspect that with all the modern reefing lights that we have out now, that it's probably going to be a good choice. I have used the Higer 30-watt, and it was a good solid little light. And they have one also that's a 36-watt, and it's a good little light, little clip-on light too. So I don't know why they went with the 35. If it's the one I'm thinking, it's the new one from Higer that has the round LED diodes in it, and the whole light's about this big. If it's the one that I'm thinking, I don't know why they chose to go with a 35-watt driver in that thing. Seems like they would have went with like 50 or 60 for a light that size. But it's probably going to be an okay budget option, you know, especially for like a softy sort of LPS tank. You don't need a ton of par for like Blastos and Micromusas, Duncans, Galaxia, you know. Trying to think of some other ones that are low par. I did a video on low par corals. I just can't remember all the names. But yeah, I think it'll probably be an okay light for those. Let's see. Buy a par meter. Best purchase I ever made. Jamie says, decent budget par meter recommendation. Yes. Did we do par meters?
Don't think par meters are in there. I know we need to finish that.
Yeah, we do need to finish that. That is a project. Let me check on something right quick, Jamie, about the par meter recommendation. I'll get back to you in just a minute. Dana, is it Dana? It's not? Okay. So I'll tell you the name of it. It is Dano Plus, DANOPLUS. But there's some extra information that goes along with the Dano Plus par meters. They've released 3 different versions, and all 3 different ones need different corrective factors to make that number correct. The most recent one is supposed to be correct, or at least very close to the Apogee MQ510, which is like the industry sort of gold standard par meter. I have coffee. Whew, that's hot. But yeah, the Dano Plus par meter is a great budget recommendation. Jamie, let me get you a link for that. Cause I mean, that helps me out a little bit if y'all use my links. It should be on the Amazon product recommendations part of my website, reefrookies.com, but it's not there yet. We haven't finished that list.
Share that with us in case anybody is.
We're going to try to drop a link to the product recommendations list, but it may work, it may not work. YouTube is weird about that sometimes. But yeah, that's the best one. It's a situation of good is good enough. With par and our lights and our corals, as long as we get close to what the corals need, we can then read the coral and fine tune things. So like right now, after I switched to the Delua lights, which of course my tank looks completely blown out right now. It doesn't look like this to my eyes. But this guy right here, that's a big purple hammer, and he's bleaching pretty bad. So I'm going to have to move him into a darker zone in the tank because these Delua lights, they pack a punch. Oh, coffee is so good, and it does help my throat. Not working link. Well, you can go to reefrookies.com and you can find the same thing. Rectangular light with a deep purple UV. Andrew, I have not seen that light at all yet. I don't know which one you're talking about. I'll have to take a look at it and check it out. Jason says, do you use the Vipar Spectra on any of your tanks? Not anymore. I have used them before, and they're great lights for certain things, but I don't have any right now. I've got Delua. I'll pop the lid on the tank so y'all can see what's going on here. The lights on this tank, these are from Delua. This is the X4 SPS Beast Mode bundle. So there's 4 of the X4 units across the tank, and then 4 Vitamini LED strips across, 2 across the front and 2 across the back. So believe me, I have got an absolute ton of light in this tank. Oh, look at the fish. They're all hungry. Let's feed the fish. Let's feed the fish. So I've been using Easy Reefs. This is a DKI Marine premium pellet. I know it's backwards. That's fine. You can recognize it. Biota sells these, and I think they're on like saltwateraquarium.com and some other places. My fish absolutely love these pellets. They go nuts over these things, as indicated. Even my Bang-Eye Cardinal that never ate pellets ever, he will eat these, which is very cool because I get tired of thawing out frozen food, and sometimes I just want to feed my fish. Let me give some to the other little CC Cardinal tank over here. So yeah, I like the Delua lights. It's a very, very nice, very high quality light. Lifetime warranty on the lenses and stuff too. So if they burn out, which they're probably not going to do because they designed them so that they wouldn't, but if they do, they will get them replaced. I had the light on the Pro 1 setting, and my green leather toadstool turned a whitish tan color, closed up, and eventually started showing signs of dead black tissue. It definitely could have been, Jamie. Yeah, that sounds a bit like a bleaching scenario. Bortho says, how can I convince the wife to convert her Cade 5x3x2 discus tank back into a reef system? You're not. It ain't going to happen. Discus are awesome, and she probably loves those fish. So, yeah, that's not going to happen. I don't think. I think you would have a better shot at just getting your own reef tank, honestly. Should I leave the algae growing at the back of my tank or remove it? Is it beneficial or detrimental? It's really neither. It's all just going to depend on your system. I don't clean the back glass of my aquarium. Of course, right now, I don't have any algae growing back there. I've got coralline algae going absolutely nuts, which you can see. That's what this sort of light-colored stuff is all right here. That's all coralline algae. Yeah, I mean, if it's just a little fuzz algae type stuff, little surface algae or something, you can leave that. Copepods absolutely love it. Twitch. They're pretty expensive. They're a high tier light. If you want to see what would be correct for your system, you can head over to Delua.com, DALUA, and you can check it out because it's going to be different for your tank than it is for my tank. That would be the best way to sort of get a feel for what the cost to set these tanks up on your light set these lights up on your tank would be. Yeah, they're definitely one of the top tier options, in the hobby. They're not cheap, that's for sure. Time to do a tank tour, we think?
Yeah, we're about an hour in. So.
Coffee first, then tank tour. Do you have cleaner shrimp and snails? Actually, I don't have a cleaner shrimp anymore. I had one for a while, and he died. But yes, I've got a large cleanup crew in this tank. So let's go take a little bit of a tour of all my tanks and my fish room and all that stuff. Oh, wait a minute. Before we do that, by the way, if you're new here and this is your first time hanging out with us, my name is Logan, and I run a community called Reef Rookies. We are the most respectful reef keeping community on the entirety of the internet because we're just that awesome. And so if you want to be a part of that, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you can join all of the other spaces where we hang out by going to my website, reefrookies.com, and finding whichever one of those spaces you fit. We have Discord and TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all that stuff. So yeah, okay. Now I'm going to go do a tank tour. The last place we need to go back to is Decline. That's the person. They left a thing talking about I just completed a cycle after 2 months. We're going to come back to that after we do the tank tour. So let me do this, and everything's all crazy colored right now. Hang on. Is my orange lens in that bowl?
Oh, yes.
We got to get the orange lens, everybody. Stand by, because obviously this is crazy blue, but we're going to fix it. So the one that I use is an ice cap one, and I stack the yellow and orange lens together. So there's 2 lenses, and then bam, we get that. So cool how that works. So yeah, that's the lights. The X4 is that one right there. And then these up here, the Vitamini strips. So yeah, looking pretty cool. So that's what they look like. And then we could take a look at the tank. So yeah, I mean, I've got snails and cleaners and stuff all over. And yeah, sorry about the blurry glass. I didn't clean the tank. We've been busy with this Facebook change. I don't know why it won't focus either.
Probably because of the stuff on the glass.
Probably because of the stuff on the glass, yeah. But so, man, it's buffering hard. Am I on the right internet? I am on the right internet. I don't know what's going on with that. But yeah, we got coralline algae growing like crazy on the back. That's just one of the things that happens. And then we got some acroporas going on up here. Fuzzy acros. This actually came out of the wine glass tank pretty recently. So yeah, it was over there. It was in this guy in the wine glass tank. Take this away. Still got a little Montipora in there. There's a little purple stylo over there and a bunch of pulsing xenia. Pretty cool little nano tank, I think. That's a Delua light on that one too, just a single pixel. But so what else we got over here? That's the stuff that I was talking about that's growing on the overflow. It's a Montipora something. I think it's a slime ball, not sure. This is one of my favorites. This guy here, those tips are like so neon blue that it doesn't even come through in photos. It's one of my favorite acros that I have, but it's the hardest one that I have to take pictures of. That's actually not bad right there. So it's a green base with like neon blue tips. This little green dude here, I don't know what that is yet. This is a Garf bonsai. Big fuzzy. Ooh, look at the crap on the surface. I'm waiting on new wave makers. Fuzzy green acro. This is a Walt Disney that's just starting to get some of its pink coming through. Big feathery duster back here. And my Australian gold torch that came from Terra Reef, Terrareef, Terra Reef. He was in the chat earlier, John was. Love this thing. This is my new favorite coral. I hope that I can grow this dude so big that it can be fragged and shared with more people. But I'm going to have to get help with that because I've never fragged on Australian gold. So, big bird's nest. So this is the difference, right? This one and that one are different because this one has dark polyps, and this one, the polyps are not so dark. One's a slimer and one's a slime ball, and I don't ever remember the difference. Candy cane corals. There's a pinwheel candy cane back there too, Jason Fox. So a very cool coral that. My micromusas are all pissed off right now. I suspect it's because of the low nutrient situation in the tank. That dude's got all his feelers out. Check him out. Let me zoom in. He got all of his feelers out. That's always super cool. And big Blasto back there, and Blenny kisses on the glass. Blasto, big fat Duncan, Galaxia. This is a dragon soul fobia that I need to get mounted on something that's going to make it look nice. And that's a Project X Fungia plate back there, the one with the green tentacles. That came from Terra Reef as well. Pretty cool stuff. All right, so that's the tank. And now, if I back out correctly and be careful, take the lens away, we can go around here and take a look at the fish room. Oh, this is the CC Cardinal, which looks like absolute crap right now because I'm doing an experiment. It looks like trash. It has gunk all over it, algae's growing everywhere and all that stuff, but I am beating dinoflagellates just by dosing tropic marine nitrobiotic bacteria. So pretty cool experiment, that one. This is my fish room, for those of you who have never seen it. It's a mess. I'm just going to be honest with you. It's a mess. So all of this is connected to the big tank on the other side of that wall. Comes through the wall right there, plumbing. These two share this sump. So this is the 40-gallon refugium for the big tank. And it is currently covered in coralline algae. So I don't really get good pictures, but there's an Alardi clownfish in there. He's super cool. And I have a sailfin molly in here as well. There we go. And then tons of algae, aptasias and all that. But look at all of the snails and stuff that are breeding in here. Here. These are all stomatella snails. They're just going absolutely crazy. But yes, there's tons of aptasia and all that stuff too. But that's what a refugium is supposed to be. But yeah, I've got anemones in here, corals in here. That's a Hollywood stunner chalice right back over there that needs to get cut up. This is Control Central. This is all Hydros gear over here to run the tank. And then Triton, Master Your Trace Element bottles go here. So these are my trace elements. And then these are nitrate, phosphate, alkalinity, and nothing currently. All being dosed to the tank. Old hot rodder trick with zip ties to well, that's actually running right now. Wait a minute. Is that supposed to be running right now? Yes, it is. Okay. That's spinning ever so slowly, so that's good. Yeah, and then this is carbon. So y'all were talking about carbon earlier. This is carbon. I just have a maxi jet down there with a little valve right there. Runs up, runs through, goes right back down, right into the sump. I 3D print these baskets and sell these on my Etsy store, so you don't ever have to clean filter socks again. So that's cool. And yeah. So this is what we were talking about with the CO2 scrubber earlier, and I need to change my media because it's all purple, but you know, it is what it is. And what's crazy about this? All this coralline algae right here on this skimmer, there's no light on the sump. It's just this window. And same thing on this side of the tank. It's just coralline algae like crazy. You can't even really there. It's nuts. But anyway, yep. Bunch of old school equipment up here that we've had that I had, and it's all gone. You know, saltwater is it's a thing. You know what I mean? There's just crap everywhere. There's a Viper Spectra light on the floor. Oh, there's always just stuff everywhere. That's the way it goes after years with a saltwater aquarium. You are all going to end up in the same situation. You're just going to have stuff all over the place. Pretty much guaranteed. There's really there's really no way it's not going to happen, because you just gather it up over time. All right, there we go. Tank tour accomplished. Always fun to do that. So I just completed a cycle after 2 months. My ugly phase algae is brown and stringy. No. So D, it sounds like maybe you have dinoflagellates going on in your tank. If you're in the Book of Faces group, you can take a really nice clear picture of what you're seeing and post it there, and we'll try to get it identified as either dinos or not dinos. We cannot identify a species without a microscope, unfortunately. I have a video on dinoflagellates on my channel. It's back about 12 to 15 videos ago, but if you want to go check that out, you definitely could. So it's depending on the species, we treat them in different ways. So, you know, it's hard for me to tell you exactly what to do, but no, diatoms are not usually stringy like that. They're more of a brown, powdery sort of dusting on the surface of things, not stringy stuff. And now I'm running out of breath because I talked for like 15 minutes without breathing. Give me a minute. This is how live streams go. Sometimes you just have to hang out for a second. David says, using the Triton Mite program, would I still need to dose calc for my alkalinity and calcium consumption? Seriously considering trying the program on my Reefer 1000. Yes. The Triton Mite program stands for Master Your Trace Elements. It doesn't cover the major elements like calcium, alkalinity, magnesium, and it doesn't do anything for pH, so on and so forth. It only covers those trace elements like fluoride, bromine, cobalt, chromium, iron, nickel. There's several: strontium, vanadium, manganese, molybdenum, those. So it's not going to do anything for you for your alkalinity, calcium, stuff like that. We have to do something else for those, and then use the Triton program to dial in those traces. I'm not saying it's not important. It is. And I've seen a massive difference on my tank since using it, but it's not going to do anything for those other things. Yeah. They have other programs that can help you with those things, though. Let's see. Okay, answered that. Talked to that. Jamie says, y'all, if you haven't done it yet, Logan's individual consultations are amazing and well worth it. Super helpful. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. It means a lot. I do try to put a lot of extra effort into those things to make sure I give you all of the information that you need. Since we're talking about it, I do consultations. They're one-on-one. We do a Zoom call. It's $100 for 1 hour of consultation. You fill out a form, so I have all the details about your tank, what your goals are, what your problems are, and all that, and we sort through all that stuff. And we make a plan going forward for what you need to do to get your tank headed into the right direction for success. That's for the 1 hour consultation. I also have a 6-month Road to Success consultation package. It's $500, which sounds like a lot, but you get one-on-one access with me for 1 hour each month for the first 6 months of your tank's life. We go through everything to make sure that tank has the best chance of having success. Of course, I can't guarantee it because Mother Nature does stupid things, and sometimes we can't control that. But I guarantee you it's helpful. So it's out there. You don't have to use it. All my content is still free on YouTube, and everything that I post on Facebook and do here on the lives and all that stuff. It's just an option if you want that sort of one-on-one environment where we can really dig into the nitty-gritty details of what you got going on. John is still, or was at least at that time in the chat, Montipora spongotes. Yeah, that's the word I couldn't remember. Thank you very much. It's doing great, by the way. It has expanded off of the frag plug probably a ½ an inch in every direction and is beginning to kind of scroll out at the bottom and branch out at the top. So it's going to be a centerpiece coral which is why I put it in the center. And most people probably wouldn't think of Montipora sponjotus as a centerpiece coral. It's just freaking green. It has brownish green polyps. But when they're big, they look freaking awesome. So yeah, I'm super happy about that one. It's doing great growing along the back wall like that. Will I regret getting pulsing zinnia? The local fish store has talked me out of it, but I really like them. But he has assured me they will take over quick. Tank is a 108 Red Sea. So here's the thing about zinnia. They will go nuts in a tank that has excessive high nutrients. And I don't mean high like outside the ranges. I mean, like if your nitrates are like 20, you know, and your phosphates are like 0.2, zinnia is going to go crazy. People back in the day, I don't really see people doing it too much anymore, but back in the day when we were trying to grow SPS and things like that, that like a tank with lower nutrients, we would use zinnia as an indicator coral because it doesn't do well in the presence of low nutrients. My wine glass tank is a prime example. Hang on. Let's go take a look at the wine glass tank while we talk about it. Let's go look at this because this is a prime example. So this is my wine glass tank. It's about 3 gallons total water volume. I've got pulsing zinnia in this tank. It's not going crazy. This has been in here for over a year and it's grown to this point, but this is about as far as it goes. There's a Montipora digitata. There's a purple stylo. I always get this wrong. Stylopora. We say these wrong. It's not Montipora and Stylopora. It's Montipora and Stylopora. And what are the other ones? Acropora is really the right way it's supposed to be said, scientific way. But anyway, that doesn't matter. But if this stuff was going to absolutely go nuts, it would be covering the whole tank, all over the glass, all over the rocks, everything. But it doesn't, because this tank is nutrient limited. Now, I don't know what the nutrients are in this tank, but I don't feed it anything. The only thing it gets is a little bit of light. So, well, that's not true. There's a harlequin shrimp in there somewhere. I see him. He's hanging out in the back. You can kind of see him through those rocks. Well, you can't. I can't get it on the phone. But anyway, I give him a chocolate chip starfish leg once a week. But other than that, I don't feed anything to that tank. So there's no nutrients. There's just a couple snails. There's some bubble algae like that. And a couple more bubble algae back here on the back right there. But yeah, so it's not going crazy because there's no nutrients for it. So if you keep your tank at a state of lower nutrients, and when I say low, I don't mean dangerously low. I mean low in the range of what's good, you know. So nitrate, what happened? Everything.
What happened? I was looking up there going, what is going on?
Everything changed.
Yeah, you seem like
I was out of whack.
yeah.
I'm back. I'm better. New me. No, anyway, but what I mean is nitrates down around 5, phosphates at like 0.05, something like that. Keep it on the lower end of good, and that zinnia will not go nuts. It just doesn't have the nutrients available to do so. So yeah, Twisted Pixie says, that's kind of a cool name. Can you buy the file to print your own?
They were talking about the filter socks, I think.
The filter socks. Okay, yeah. Well, here's what I will say about that. Unfortunately, a few people ruined it for everyone, and I no longer sell my files.
Yeah, I mean, they might be able to find them somewhere.
I mean, there are some that are out there that you could get the file for yourself and print them for yourself. But as far as the stuff that I spend hundreds of hours designing, sometimes thousands of hours, I don't sell my files, and I hate it that's what it came to. But ultimately, that is what it came down to, you know. Lolo says, thanks for sharing all this. Yeah, happy to do it. I enjoy the heck out of this, man. You know, seeing people find success in reef keeping, and then, you know, I help somebody out and they come back to me 4 months later. We ain't even talked to each other, nothing. And then they send me this video of their tank and they're like, dude, my tank looks awesome. It's the centerpiece of my living room. We watch the tank more than we watch the TV now. That's great. That makes me feel so freaking good. And look, let me tell you what, I'm going to talk about this for a second too. So if y'all don't know, we had a Book of Faces group, Reef Rookies with Logan. It was a public group, had 35,000 members in it. Over the last 2 days, we are switching over to a private group. It's named the same thing, Reef Rookies with Logan, but it's private, not public. We have approved over 1,000 people manually to enter into the private group, told everybody in the public group, you're going to move over. Some of y'all's answers to the approval questions have been absolutely hilarious. Some of them have been just, okay, you get the message, good, you're in the group. Some of y'all have been coming with some off-the-wall stuff, and I can't remember anything like right off the top of my head, but it has been amazing. It's been so awesome to see that. But more to the point, there have been so many people that say that they have joined the group and they're getting into the private group because of me and the things that I do and the way that I'm helping them and the success that they have found. And it's really freaking humbling, to tell you the truth. The respectful atmosphere is a thing that people are really keying on, and that's been the goal the whole time. So I don't know. It just means a lot, It's really humbling when you read through 1,000 applications to join a group, and probably half of them are like, we really like Logan. It's wild to read that over and over and over and over again. I don't know. People just have never liked me that much in my whole life. So anyway, off of that horse, on to the next one. Is it a good idea? D says, definitely post it. Hey, yeah, tag me when you do so I could take a look at it, D. Is it a good idea to throw coral skeletons in the refugium? They came with a used tank. Just make sure they're clean. Is it a good idea, bad idea? Neither one, really. It's not really either here or there. You could put them down there. It'll give places for copepods to hang out and breed and do their thing, so nothing wrong with it, of course. Jamie says, I've spent way more money on chemicals trying to figure it out on my own. We're going to fix that, Jamie. You and I, we have another consultation coming on Tuesday as a follow-up, and then we're going to do some more stuff after that. Yeah, we're going to get that tank torn down, set back up, and off on the right foot this time, headed in the right direction with the information that you need to be successful in reef keeping. I got you, fam. John says, we have Xenia growing well, a little too well, in one of our systems in 0 ppm nitrate. Our systems are often odd, though, and break the rules. Couldn't help checking in on that. I have to get back to work. Yep, get back to work, man. And listen, I hear you. To that point, that's why reefing is difficult sometimes, because this person says that my system is doing very good at XYZ. And then this other person completely contradicts that and says, well, when my system was like that, it was crap. But now that I did this, it's amazing. And that is because each individual system is its own ecosystem. I could set up 10 10-gallon tanks. And this is a thing that I've actually wanted to do, but I'm just not there yet. Set up 10-gallon aquariums with exactly the same lights, exactly the same pumps, exactly the same equipment, use the same sand, use the same rocks, and everything. Put the same fish in there, all that. Do them as identical as possible. I guarantee you, if I did an aquabiomics test on each of the 10 tanks, each of the 10 would have different levels of different bacteria and things like that in them. No two tanks are alike. They're all very similar, but no two tanks are exactly alike. And our ecosystems and the microbiomes that we have in our tanks are not the same. I used to have a 125 mixed reef, but I sold it 2 years ago. May start a new all-in-one tank, like 24 gallons. What brand do you recommend? Well, Twitch. Twitch says, I was in the original group. How do I get in the private group? I watch all your YouTube videos. So there's, in the old group, the public group, there's a featured post. It's the only one on the featured pin thing. So go to the group, go to featured. There's a video there and a link to the new group. You just ask to join, answer the questions, agree to the rules, and we are manually approving every person getting into the new group. It's not automatic anymore. We're doing it one at a time. So bear with us. We'll get there. We've got over how many? Right at 800. It was about 700 when we started the stream. There's about 800 now. So tonight, when we get done with the stream, we're going to sit on the couch. We're going to watch a movie and go through a bunch of them. So do that. To answer your question, I am partnered with a brand named CC Cardinal. This little tank right there, that is a CC Cardinal 22-gallon cube. Right now, we don't have any 22-gallon cubes, but we do have a 35-gallon and a 50-gallon lagoon. And it's an all-in-one tank. And if you don't have any equipment at all, this is perfect for you. We have a line of tanks called Reef Ready tanks. And it's the 35 or the 50. And we even have it for a 15-gallon little tiny cube too. But the 35 and the 50 are more well appointed. And they come with everything you need to set up, even all the way down to 2 bags of salt. Lights, heater, skimmer, flow devices, return pumps, an extra pump for mixing salt water, hydrometer for measuring salinity, a bucket, an ATO, towels, orange glasses, measuring cups, everything's in there to get your tank started, except rocks, sand, and test kits, because those are all very personal choices. People want to choose what their rocks and sand and test kits are. But all the rest is there. So go to www.secardinal, SEA, cardinal.com, all one word, and check those tanks out. They're really good tanks. I've had this one set up for almost probably 2 years now. Haven't had a single problem with it. The lagoons are going to come with pop bloom lighting, which I've used extensively over the last 18 months or so. It's going to get you started, do a great thing. All right, I'm getting off of that soapbox. Check them out, ccardinal.com. Yes, I'm partnered with them. We're brand partners, so if you buy that, I'll get a little kickback from them on the back end, but that's just how that stuff works. That's how I make a living. Coco says, I'm very new. Thank you first for joining as a channel member. I really appreciate that. I'm very new to the saltwater, did freshwater forever, and I've learned so much from you already. Really enjoy and learn a lot from you. I'm super happy to hear that. Need coffee. Thank you so much. Just thanks. That's what's really all it is. I'm super glad that what I'm doing is helping people out, and it is nice to hear it when you guys say stuff like that. Rocks are never the same. Nope. They never. Oh, I'm caught up. Very cool. Now I can drink more coffee. No, not yet. I'm about halfway done with this one. Lyle Fishing says, sorry I'm late. It's all good, man. Been watching baseball. Don't worry, everyone. The cavalry has arrived. Yeah. I'm going to make it up there by you one day, Lyle, and we're going to go out and catch some freaking walleye, and then we're going to do like a catch and cook right there on the bank. Yeah, I don't know. He's in Canada.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, Lyle's in Canada, and I definitely want to come up there and do some fishing. I'd love to catch some pike, come up there and catch some pike, and hopefully, if I'm super lucky, maybe get a muskie. I mean, that's probably asking a lot. I hear those fish are really hard to catch, but I'd love to do that, man. And then vice versa. We got to get you down here, and me and you go out to where I've been fishing, and we can go out at night and get onto some of these big redfish, 20-pound redfish. They'll friggin' strip a drag. Anyway, Twitch says, will do for sure. Appreciate the advice. Seen your light video a while back. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, check those tanks out. If that doesn't seem like something that fits the bill for you, if it's not your thing or whatever, you decide you want to go with something else, I mean, no hard feelings. There's lots of options out there. Let's see. Mysterious Reef says, I really love your MITE video. That's the Triton Trace Element Program. I'm doing Moonshiner, and I'm deciding which one is more worth it for the buck. Listen, if we just take the money aspect and put that to the side, right? Which I get it. It's important, but let's just put that to the side. all I do is take a bottle off my mount, put a bottle back on my mount, and walk away. That's it. I've got my dosers set. Hydros runs my dosers. So I've got my dosers set at 31 milliliters. It splits it up. It does 15 mils twice a day, 15.5. And that's it. I don't have to do anything else. I don't even have bottles laying around or anything like that. I mean, I have all the Triton bottles that I could ever use at this point. So I guess from here on out, they're probably just going to go in the trash. Or maybe.
I got plans for those. I'm doing a craft.
Oh, my wife says she got plans for those bottles. They're a really pretty emerald green bottle. They're, you know, so what I was going to say is I could go ahead and mix up my own nitrate, phosphate, alkalinity supplements, load them into the bottles and label them, and then just keep them. You know, that stuff doesn't go bad. It doesn't have a shelf life. So that's, you know, something that I could do. But I mean, yeah, it's so freaking easy. It's so easy. I don't drip nothing into nowhere. I literally open that sucker up, hook it up, and go. Let's see. Lyle says, not really. There's hundreds of those slimy gators around here. Get you on some trophy brook trout too. Now that would be awesome. Fly fishing for the brook trout, even if it's not, but if so, that's all up in my wheelhouse. So yeah, we're gonna have to put that trip together one day, Lyle. I don't know if my wife wants to go to Canada or not, but oh, she says she's game. She ain't gonna go fishing with us. She definitely not, especially if there's no boat. And she might would go fishing if it's ice fishing and we go out on the lake. You know, yeah, she said yeah for that, yeah, but no boats. I can't even get her in my boat. Anyway, Kimberly says I moved a week ago and I haven't moved my tanks yet. I missed them. Oh. I'm currently leak testing a 60. Well, you're doing it right. If you have not seen my video about moving reef tanks, be sure that you go check that out. Also, on the website, reefrooks.com, there's something called Reefing Insights, and those are blogs. We did one on moving reef tanks, and there's a lot of tips and tricks in there and stuff like that. So go to reefrookies.com, find those reefing insights, and look at and read that blog that we did about moving reef tanks. I have moved more reef tanks than I want to ever move again.
I was about to say, she's in the group. I'm pretty sure I shared that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I knew she was in the group, but I didn't know that you maybe shared it with her.
She just popped up and said she did. She looked at it. Yeah.
Very cool. Technical question. Should I or should I not top up my tank Sprite? Well, I don't know. If you're asking if you should top up your tank with Sprite, the carbonated lemon lime beverage, which is amazing, by the way, no. I would not recommend doing that. You're going to instantly kill pretty much everything in the tank. So don't do that. Mysterious Reef says, do you get to use all the bottle in a month before they send you the new bottle? Yes. Now there's if you do it correctly and everything's timed just right, there's usually a little bit left in the bottom of the bottle. And what their recommendation is that you just dump that in the tank. It's not going to hurt anything. You know, at the end of the month, it's only like this much usually left in the bottom of the bottle. Just dump that in the tank, put the new bottle on, and let it continue going. But yeah, they've nailed it really close. It's everyone doses pretty much the same amount. It's usually 31 milliliters per day per bottle, because there's 1,000 milliliters in the bottle, and there's usually 30 to 31 days in a month. So the math comes out. They adjust the concentration of the trace elements so that there's more or less element in the bottle depending on your tank's needs. So that's kind of how that goes. So yeah, it's 30, 31 milliliters a day for 30 days. You're going to be right there at the end of the bottle volume on the bottle. Take the old bottle off or pop the cap, whatever, dump it in the tank, throw the bottle away, make a flower pot her, plant her out of it, something, you know, I don't know. And then Bob's your uncle. You're good to go. But yeah, it uses the whole bottle. About to upgrade from a BioCube 14 to a JBJ 65, thinking of using RL 180 for the lighting. It wouldn't be a bad choice. If you were going to go with the RL series on that tank, I think that you would like RL 90 better, because you're going to get more spread. You can move the lights further apart. Now, I'm not saying the RL 180 is going to be bad, but there is one thing I hate about that RL 180 light, and it is the arm, the mounting arm to hang the light from. I don't know why they did it this way. They have not told me why they did it this way, but the heavier light, the biggest light that they offer, has the smallest mounting arm that they offer. And the smallest light that they offer has the biggest, thickest, strongest arm. It's backwards. So yeah, I think you would be happier with two of the RL 90s, which you can get through the Amazon product recommendations link at my website, reefrookies.com. Yes, I'm pushing the heck out of my own website today because I'm not being paid by any sponsors to say anything that I'm saying in these live streams, and I need to pay my bills. So yeah, if y'all use my Amazon product recommendation page, and listen, it's not just for the one-time purchases either. I've got salt on there. I've got like RODI filter replacements on there, stuff like that. So if you need something for your tank, go check and see if it's on my list first. And if it is, use my link and I get a little kickback from Amazon. Makes Jeff Bezos share his money with me and doesn't cost you anything. Yeah, yeah. So it's a way that you can pay me without paying me, which is a win-win for everybody except Jeff Bezos, but
It ain't much anyway.
it ain't a problem for him anyway. No, my wife said it ain't much anyway, and she's absolutely right. It's pennies on the many dollars. It's not even pennies on the dollar, but I do get a little bit from it. Russ Dog, about the JBJ65. I make some 3D prints for that, so check out my 3D printed part of my store too. There is the filter sock holders for that aquarium. JBJ doesn't make them anymore, and you can't buy them. They're unobtainable. I'm the only person who has factory filter sock holder replacements for that tank on the internet. Nobody else has them. Only me. Somebody else probably will at some point. But right now I'm the only one. I'm the only place you can get those things, unless you get them used. Lyle says, Google Lake Nipigon. I probably said it. Nipigon? I don't know how to say that. That lake right there. It's about an hour away. My girlfriend will take her and show her all the Tourist Canada things. Turbo Civic, what's up, my friend? Happy to see you back in the live stream with us today. Recommendations for skimmers for 30-gallon aquariums. I've tried 2 and had difficulty getting them dialed in to work correctly. I have a Higer hang on the back. So, are you looking for a hang on the back skimmer or one to go inside an internal 30-gallon skimmer that goes inside the tank? Turbo, let me know, and I'll try to make you a recommendation. The Jakes says, thanks for the tip about the saltwater API tester. Yeah, no worries. Happy to help, always. Lyle, let's plan it then. Your dollar goes 40% further here too. Yeah, right now, man, time is a massive problem. But isn't there a train that goes from here all the way up there?
I'll have to look and see. That would be a fun.
It would be.
Maybe. I don't know.
I think that there's a train that runs from Louisiana, from New Orleans, all the way up to like Chicago or something like that. And then we could just rent a car and drive the rest of the way maybe. But yeah, we need to put that together. I don't know if it'll happen this year, but maybe in the spring after the snow starts to go away up there for you a little bit, maybe next year that's something that we can actually really do. I'd love to come up there and just spend a few days and do some fishing and, experience life up there. We might not come home. I'm just saying. Any recommendations for a basket or cage for a Tideline 47 chamber? So are you looking for like a media rack kind of thing? I have filter baskets that are designed for the Tideline 62. And I think they also fit the Tideline 47. I'm not sure. So, Eduardo, if you want, you can jump on my Etsy store. from my website, reefrookies.com. Go to my Etsy store. Send me a message on Etsy, and let's talk back and forth a little bit because I may have something for you. It's really hard for me to answer that here. We need to talk and do measurements and stuff, but I think we got something. Let's see. Mysterious Reef says you explained it well. Cool deal. Turbo says I have a Reef Octopus Classic Hang On Back 1000 and it's fantastic. Oh no, Lyle said that too. Yeah, but that skimmer is way too big for a 30-gallon tank. That Reef, you're right. It's one of the best old school hang on the back skimmers that there ever has been, but it's way too big for a 30. Russ Dog says, thank you. I'll be getting the shades from you. Nice. Very nice. I don't have shades for the RL 180 though. That sucks. I do still have the measurements for the RL 180 though. I need to make the freaking shade. I was working on it. There was something about it. It was so big it didn't fit on the print bed. So I was going to have to make it a 2-piece shade, just like the Hyper Reef, the Nicrew ones. The Jakes says, would 2 of the AI Hydra 44 HD be sufficient for the 500 liter I'm building, or should I go for the 164? There's the dimensions, but they're in metric. Can you look up how many inches 1300 millimeters equates to? So it's 1300 by 600 by 600. So stand by. 1300 millimeters to inches. I don't know. 51? Yeah. So it's 51, so 5 feet long and 2.5 by 2.5. So that's kind of like, nah, you better go with 2. Yeah, I think you should probably go with 2. I don't think unless you're going to pile your rocks kind of in the middle of the tank, and then you can just have the one light over the middle, the 64, but I would go with 2. You're going to get a lot more spread out of that. Lyle said that's a 12-hour drive, 3-hour flight. I'm totally game.
Probably from
That would have to be from Chicago.
yeah.
Yeah. We're going to figure that out, Lyle. And we're going to do it both ways. I'm going to come up there and we're going to do some fishing and hanging out and do some cooking and stuff. And then you can make the reverse trip and come down here a couple months later or whatever. We're going to get out, me and you. We'll go out for 2 or 3 days and we'll get some fish and do some cooking and stuff. I really want to test out the testing and custom dosing system you recently did a video on, but it's pricey for a 25-gallon tank. I hear you. It is a little bit pricey. For your tank, it would be $80 a month. But if you're going to be keeping SPS or any really nice corals, it's going to be worth it, because you're going to end up in a situation where you have to add something like that anyway. And to do ICP tests to track that stuff, you're going to end up spending more money in the end doing it like with individual ICP tests and stuff. Now, with a 25-gallon tank, your water changes are probably going to take care of most of it, if I'm being honest. And look, I would tell you either way, because I'm not being paid by Triton. I said that in the video. You know, there's no affiliate code. I don't get a kickback, anything like that. So it really is going to come down for you to what corals you keep in the tank. You know, if you want to put high-end acros in the tank that are, you know, $200 or $300 a frag, that's a no-brainer. You know, yeah, go with to add the Triton Mite system. You know, LPS that are, you know, if you want, you know, $250, $300 bleeding apple scolies, things like that in the tank. My wife is losing her crap right now for some reason.
You'll see why after the thing.
Oh, okay. You know, then yeah, it's going to be good for you. But if you're just interested in keeping sort of lower budget tier, you know, Zoas and Pallies and some easy LPS and SPS, then maybe not. Just keep up with your water changes, you know? It just depends. So Turbo says, I did not realize you could do internal skimmers. That may be a great idea to give a shot as well. Yeah, you can do internal skimmers for sure. There are skimmers that are made that just go inside the tank, and some that hang on the back and other stuff. So Turbo Civic, check out the Amazon product recommendations part of my website, reefrookies.com. Go down to the Amazon product recommendations. I have a section in there for skimmers, and that section is done. You got to quit.
I gotta quit because I'm dying over here.
Go down to the section where the skimmers are. I have most of the skimmers that are on Amazon that I would recommend to people listed there. There's a bunch of skimmers on Amazon that I would not recommend that you use. So I've picked and chosen the ones that I would recommend. They're listed there. And there's skimmers all the way from nano all the way up to 2,000-gallon tanks. Maybe not that big. I don't think there's any skimmers that big on Amazon, but there's some that get pretty close. Yeah. So anyway, check those out. If you want some one-on-one help choosing your skimmer, man, just reach out to me anywhere. Let me know who you are when you do. Facebook, whatever. Hi from England. Hi from Ireland. Hey from Louisiana, you guys. Nice to have y'all here. Any AI Prime 16 shades? Not yet. Unfortunately, it takes a lot for me to design those things, especially when I don't have the light here on hand. I have to rely on measurements, and then I got to send one to somebody for them to test fit, and they got to tell me how it fits and all that. I am not at the point yet where I can afford to just buy all the lights. But it is a thing that we're considering. And when I do that, I think what we're probably going to do is we'll run it through our website. But I would buy the AI Prime 16, right? I would get it here, make my shade, design my thing, and then we would raffle the light off for $1, or something like that. Entry tickets would be $1, or maybe 2 or 3 or 5 or something. I don't know. That's the thing that we're thinking about for the future. I'm a fish keeper too, my dude. Nice to see you. I keep aggressive fish like tigers. Tigers? Like tiger Oscars? That's cool. The Jakes. 2 times 64 HD, just checking. That will pack a punch on the budget. Oh, no, I was saying 2 of the smaller ones. You could probably do the 164 HD over the middle. I think that's probably going to be plenty for that tank. But I would do 2 of the smaller ones if you were going to do the 2. You're going to get a little bit more spread in the tank than with just the one light. And spread is good. You want as much of a blanket of light as you can. After further investigation, accent is about a 3. I'm sure that's what my wife is tripping about in the group. Evidently, y'all are cutting up over there. Slick says that would be cool. What would be cool? Did I miss something? I don't know. Oh, the shades. Yeah. That's what we're thinking about. I mean, I don't have a need for all of those lights, but I think I have a big enough following now that if I were to do that, I could at least make my money back. It wouldn't be a situation of trying to profit off you. It would just be a situation. I know I'm live. Thank you for telling me, YouTube. It just blinked.
Mine completely cut me off a minute about
Did it?
30 minutes ago.
I wonder if our internet's screwing up.
Yeah, I mean, they just did the AT&T
It's
stuff.
brand new AT&T fiber in this neighborhood. Brand spanking new. Brand new lines and everything. And still jacking up. The Jake says, thanks a million. Yeah, no problem. Happy to do it. Happy to help. Lyle needs some shades for the G3 Radions. Yep, those are going to be difficult to do. I would have to get the light in my hands to be able to do that. We are almost at 2 hours, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me and us for the live stream. My coffee's cold.
You like s'mores, sir?
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. I am going to walk over to the table over here for just 1 minute. I'll be right back. Bear with me. I got to get up every now and then. My back is no good. You good? Oh. Obviously. Your head is glowing like a light bulb.
It looks good. I like
Yeah, it does. Looks good. I'm taking a quick break. Everybody just bear with me. I'm coming right back. It's actually kind of hard to talk like this and have these conversations for 3 hours straight. I like coffee. I like coffee. Coffee is yummy. Oh my goodness. Here it comes. Yes. It's hot. That got hotter sitting over there. Ooh, that cup is hot. It's a terrible coffee mug. It lets all the heat out. Anyway, what do we got? Got to work out the kinks on something new. Oh, new, better than Spectrum. We had Spectrum before. We had problems with that too. A lot of it's our neighborhood because of all of our services are underground here. Nothing is in the air. So, and we live in Louisiana. Yeah, make sense. Everything here is underwater. You can dig a foot deep and find water, So I don't know. Shades for the Pop Bloom 115. Comment. Actually, I have those up on the website. The RL90 and the 115 are the same exterior dimensions. So those shades are interchangeable. I have that listed on my Etsy store, so you can get those right now. They're available.
Oh, you missed one from Brandon Lucas.
I did? I missed one? All right. Brandon Lucas. Oh, yeah, I was getting to that. I have an IM25 it moved. All in one. Any prints for these or plans for them? It moved again. Media baskets or anything of that nature, really? Not yet. That's another one that I really want to do them, but finding accurate measurements on all this stuff is hard. You can get general measurements off of the websites and stuff. They'll say a chamber is so many inches or so many centimeters or something like that, but it's always off. They'll say 6, but it's really 5.8. So if I make it 6, it's too big. So it's difficult. And yes, that is that whole line of their tanks I want to make stuff for, but I just I haven't been able to do it yet. Tim Hortons coffee, huh? I've heard of it. I make my own coffee every day. Well, I say I make my own coffee, but I make espresso, a triple shot latte every morning. And that's usually what, jump starts the day. Colombian dark roast, coffee beans, do a triple. Yo, Tara Reef dropped a $50 super chat. Well, thank you so much. Or a sticker. Which is it? Let me see. It's just a thing. Well, thank you very much, man. That was very appreciated and not expected. That's freaking awesome. That helps for sure. I really appreciate that, man. And I know you've had a lot going on recently. We're gonna talk either late tonight, but probably it's gonna be better for tomorrow. I think they are required to bury the fiber. They're buried here too. Interesting. I didn't know that. Let's see. King says, how long am I looking at to add zoas? I've had my tank cycled for about a month with clownfish, added last Friday. Put some zoas in it today. Go today, if your fish store is open, go pick you out a couple of nice looking zoa frags. Make sure there's no aptasia on them. Make sure there's no green hair algae or bubble algae or anything like that. Bring those zoas home, dip them, properly dip them. When you're at the store, pick up some coral dip, Coral RX or Brightwell. Every manufacturer has a coral dip. Get yourself some coral dip, come home, dip them, and get some zoas in that tank like today or tomorrow. It's ready. Put them in there. You're good to go. Corals actually help tanks mature. A lot of people won't tell you that, but they actually do. Don't need the shades on the Stratons. Really? So they designed that light in a way that it doesn't have light spill outside of the aquarium. That's cool. I mentioned before, I don't know why more light manufacturers don't do that. That would seem like it should be a thing that you would do as a manufacturer of light. We don't want this light to spill out into the room, so let's properly design it so that it doesn't do that. But absolutely none of them do that. So anyway, but yeah, it's that's good to know. And those Stratons, that's a very top quality, high tier, high end light for sure. Brandon says, be happy to help with measurements if you're interested. I am interested. Brandon, send me an email at pieceofareef@gmail.com. Can you type that in the chat?
Yeah.
The email address. Send me an email with the tank that you have just to remind me. And then we'll talk about measurements and pictures and stuff like that. We'll get some products made for that tank. I can't say how fast that's going to happen, but it can definitely happen. Let me go back up because I missed a few. Tara Reef, again, man, thank you so much for that. Listen, guys, I've got corals in my tank from Tara Reef. If you guys don't know, I did an unboxing video here pretty recently on my channel, and corals from Tara Reef came in on that box. Super duper clean corals. There was literally nothing came off of them when I dipped them. They were super clean. That Australian gold that's over there came from Tara. Several of my acropora that are up here, which I know y'all can't see right now. Well, it's 2 hours, so we'll go do a tank tour and look at the corals in a minute. Yeah, very, very good stuff. I'm very happy with the stuff that I've gotten from Tara Reef, and I believe you would be happy with that stuff too. And the prices are great, great prices. Of course, you know, for certain high-end things like the Australian golds, you're going to pay a premium price because it's a premium coral. But there's lots of stuff on there too that's just, it's not overly expensive, but they're still very nice pieces. And his pieces are really chunky. They're not fresh cut little nubs of frags. I mean, you're going to get, you know, a frag, you know what I mean? So it's good stuff. If you don't have an LFS, we have a few zoanthids left from Tara Reef. Okay, so yeah, check it out. Check out tarareef.com. You might find something there. Elijah says, how do corals help the tank mature? That is a great question. It's awesome for a live stream. Let me see if we can do this YouTube thing. And I'm going to try to turn this into a YouTube short, vertical short that I can use for later. So YouTube, mark this point in the live stream as the live stream highlight. This is what I want that to be. So do your automatic thing and make that this. Okay, so did you know that corals can actually help your reef tank mature? They absolutely can. And one of the reasons that they do that is because they bring diversity into the tank from another system. So bacteria that's in that other system, microorganisms like copepods and things like that can make their way into your system. Even if you dip your corals, some of that stuff is still going to come through. Not only that, putting corals in a system early on, right after the nitrogen cycle and into the ugly phase, is going to introduce that bacteria to the tank, and it's also going to consume any excess ammonia that is still hanging around and lingering at the end of the nitrogen cycle, helping your tank mature faster and making you a happy reef keeper. How y'all like that? You see that? I just did that flip into my video guy mode. So hopefully YouTube saves that. If not, I'm going to have to go back and do it manually because I think that was pretty good. But yeah, that is how they help the tank mature. They bring in that diversity from those other tanks, especially if you can get tanks like from Tara Reef that are really clean and you can avoid dipping, but I never recommend doing that. It only takes one Euphilia eating flatworm egg to make it into your tank, and then you end up with an infestation of Euphilia eating flatworms. Unfortunately, dips don't fix those anyway. You have to manually scrape those off and rinse the corals, but that you get my point. But yeah, corals, a lot of places in the world, I don't know why we don't do this as much in the United States. You know, of course, we're bass backwards in a lot of ways, and we don't do a lot of things that other places in the world do. But that's a topic for another YouTube channel. My point, though, is that a lot of places in the world, they will set up a tank, brand new tank, before the nitrogen cycle, you know, whatever, and they will start putting corals in the tank immediately. And it absolutely helps the tank get through the nitrogen cycle. Now, I'm not telling you to go put that $700 war paint, bleeding apple, you know, alien blood, snot rocket, scolemia in your tank during the nitrogen cycle. Don't do that. You know, save that guy for later. But I made that name up. But yeah, putting some easy to keep, you know, put some Duncans in there, some micromucil maybe, some candy cane, you know, maybe some of that pulsing xenia we were talking about, you know, other things like this. It's gonna, corals use ammonia more readily than they use nitrate. When they uptake nitrate, they have to reverse convert that back into ammonium before they can use it for photosynthesis and fuel. The little zooxanthella, the little dinoflagellate algae organism that's within the tissues of the corals, they can't straight use nitrate. Well, they can, but they still have to break it down into ammonia, right? So if there's ammonia in the tank, the corals are going to take it up. So you never see ammonia spikes in tanks that are going through the nitrogen cycle that are set up with corals in them. You just don't see it because the corals suck it up. It's one of the best ways to start a tank, and I don't know why more people don't do it. Off that soapbox. But yeah, so yeah, the Stratons were designed to be like T5 and not kill your eyes. Interesting. They just posted a video today, and I want them. I don't want to pay for them. Yeah, they are very expensive. There's another brand of lighting that I just saw at Reefapalooza that you should check into if you like that kind of thing. It's called Next Gen Reefing or Next Gen Reef Lights. It is a modular system. So it's based on the idea of like a 6 or 8 bulb T5 fluorescent where you can take individual bulbs out and change them, but it's LED. And they have different LED bulbs that are different colorations and different spectrums, and we can switch and flip and flop like we used to do with T5. And you can really dial in your colors to how you want them to be. They even have some that are like the old school T5 actinic and the pinks. And so you could you could choose which LEDs you want. And if they're not quite right, you can swap them out. Of course, they're pretty expensive. But it's a very neat concept. And the LEDs are like all the way across the tank. So it's a whole blanket of light. There's almost no shadows from those lights. I saw them at Reefapalooza, and they look freaking great. It's the closest thing to a T5 look that I've ever seen from an LED. Whereas something like the Pop Bloom with the single sort of point light source is like the closest we've ever seen to like metal halide and like the Red Seas single point lights, you know, like that. This is like that, but for T5. So they're really cool lights. And in their lens under the lights, they have 4 spots that have a parabolic dome that with one LED that's like really powerful on that parabolic dome that gives you that shimmer look that people enjoy. So it's a really cool light. So I'm very interested to see what they do with that light going forward. Sai says, cool that you're going the DIY plywood on your mega tank. Might want to check out Alex G's 4,200 gallon on YouTube. He's got his own channel on the Reef Beef Discord. 3D prints a lot of his own stuff too. I think I may have seen a video about that, but I definitely want to go check it out. That build, I hope I'm able to do. It was brought up to me recently that the ground underneath our house may not be sufficient for a build of that size. So I don't know. We have a lot of planning and checking into things before that ever becomes a thing. But I do hope that it gets there one day. Wow, I'm stuttering.
We live in the swamp.
We live in the swamp, literally. Yeah. So if we can't, we're moving and we're building an entire house around a fish tank. That's what
We're never leaving here.
Yeah, we're never leaving this house. If I can't do the big 1,800 gallon tank, I'm just going to figure out something else.
I honestly have thought about something else while we've been sitting here, and I'll tell you about it later.
My wife already has another idea. If we can't do that, she has thought about something else. We'll do a saltwater pond out back or something like that. Cool. Yeah. All right. Answered that already. I want a hammerhead shark. Well, best of luck to you with that one, my friend. Terra Reef does not ship to Europe. Unfortunately, it's U.S. shipping only. Shipping corals like that to other countries is not only extremely expensive, it's extremely difficult. And a lot of times the corals are seized. So it's not something that he's doing, at least not at this point. I don't think. If I'm wrong, correct me, but I don't think so. I think more people don't do it because corals seem intimidating for a new saltwater aquarius. You're probably correct. There's probably a lot of valid point there in what you're saying. I agree. John Wright has the Stratton Flex over the Deep Dimension 1500. No glare, and the light is amazing. That's cool. Yeah, it's a good light. Ain't no doubt about it. I didn't have fish and inverts in my tank. I'd be dosing ammonia for my corals. You can actually ammonia dose a tank with fish and inverts in it. You just have to micro dose it. It's really small doses, and it really only benefits tanks that are super low nutrient. But ammonia dosing, especially ammonia combined with urea, is something that the hobby is moving towards. There's a lot of sort of people trying it out with anecdotal information coming in here or there. Obviously, we can't dose too much because it's going to hurt things. But dosed in the right amounts, it can be very helpful on keeping a tank that is ultra low nutrients happy till you get those nutrients built up. So it's interesting. Yeah, Sean, the next gen, I don't know if you saw them at RAP, but they're pretty cool. Lyle checked them out. 2K. Yeah. But I mean, it's 2K, for the whole situation, and it's adjustable. And if you have a problem with one tube or something, you can just change them out, So I don't know if that price is too bad in the grand scheme of things, I mean, all the high-end lights are going to be expensive like that. So, and I would consider that a high-end offering because they put a lot of R&D into that. And like I said, they looked really good. Really, really good. What dosing pumps would you recommend for my first setup? Value is important, but I don't mind saving up to only buy once. Red Sea makes a good 4-port doser. If anybody of y'all have any recommendations for dosers, you can drop them in the comments too. Yo, Cedric, what's up, my friend? Happy to see you here. Thank you so much for being a YouTube channel member. I appreciate you for doing that. I got the burps. It's because of the coffee. This is not my normal coffee. This is bean water that goes through my wife's coffee maker. I'm a bit of a coffee snob, but yeah. Do you recommend, Echinoster starfish? They seem to be a good choice for the non-brittle type, but I haven't tried keeping one yet. So I don't generally recommend any starfish for any reef keeper. That being said, some people are able to keep them happy and healthy and doing well, but most starfish end up kicking the bucket in our tanks because our tanks just can't give them what they need. And the problem is because we don't truly know what they need. People have been studying starfish for decades, and we still really don't know what they eat. It seems as though they vary their diet just like humans. They'll eat one thing in the morning, something else in the evening. Next week they'll change, and there'll be something else in their stomachs. It's really weird. We need a lot more knowledge into starfish before we start really keeping them thriving the way that they should. Sean says, missed them. Oh, you missed them at RAP. I see they have a 48-inch kit. Thinking of a water. Wait a minute. Wow, some things moved. Hang on. Thinking of a Waterbox Peninsula 110. I'm usually an AI fan, but will research. Yeah, take a look at those lights, Sean. They look really cool. Now, there's a lot of good lights on the market. I love my Deluas that I have over this tank. I think you'd be very happy with Deluas if you went with the X4s and the Vitamini strips, the SPS Beast Mode bundle, they call it. It's very awesome. I mean, obviously, Radions are up there. However, there's a fellow on Instagram. His name is Telegram. You can check him out. He's doing a lot of studying into lights and like what you get for your money, like how much you're getting per dollar out of these lights with PAR and Spectrum and things like that. And one of the best performing brands so far in the testing that he's done is Nicrew. Go figure. An Amazon brand. They're kind of mid-tier for Amazon, but they have remarkably good results for the testing that he's doing. So, I mean, I'm just throwing that out there. I'm not sponsored, Nicrew. Nicrew is a brand that I considered working with and reached out to before I got the pop blooms for the tank behind me. Unfortunately for NICRU, pop bloom responded first and we came to a deal. If it wasn't for the pop blooms, it would have been NICRUs that I've been pushing this whole time. But so they're both great lights. So, but anyway, let's see, a Blenny for the doser. So yeah, the Hydros Blenny is a good option. A lot of people seem to have trouble getting that tube all the way on the Blenny. If you just dip the tube in some water, it'll go right on there. But the Blenny is a good option, yeah, for doser. Red Sea 4-port doser is good. I've got a Jabo DP4 that I'm testing. Is it good? I don't know. It's working all right for me at the moment. I actually need to ramp it up a little bit. What other dosers? Kamoer have been an industry leader for a long time. You know, Kamoer, Kamoer. Those are very good pumps. Some of them are even manual. You can just set the knob for how much you want them to dose by time, and they'll do that. Who else? Of course, you know, Neptune Systems has their own sort of dosers and stuff that you can use. There's another brand I'm trying to think of. I don't know. It's slipping the mind. I can't recall right now, but you know, there's some good ones out there. As far as the new Triton trace system with a 4-month-old BioCube, where you were asking about the dosers? No. So what's your question, John, about the trace system with the 4-month-old BioCube? Jonathan says, is the Fluval 32 saltwater AIO any good in your opinion, and would you recommend it for a complete beginner in the hobby? It's probably not bad. I would imagine with it being a Fluval that the light kind of sucks, but I don't know that for sure because I haven't looked into it. But what I would ask you to look into instead is the brand that I'm a partner with, CC Cardinal, SEA Cardinal. Wow, that was loud. It's fine. Look into that brand. We have a Reef ready line of aquariums that come with all the stuff you need to get started in the hobby. You can find those tanks over at www.ccardinal.com, and we have a 35-gallon lagoon that is, in my opinion, a better looking tank than the Fluval 32. But it's probably not a bad tank. It's probably just that the light probably sucks. If I had to guess, I don't know anything about it, so. How is this list for a 33-gallon, 48-inch macro softy tank? Pair of Ocellaris clowns, flame angel or a coral beauty, shrimp goby, pistol shrimp pair, small wrasse, saltwater mollies, fire. Yeah, it sounds fine. Sounds all right. Richman's Reef. Yes, I did switch the lights on the big tank. I'm not using the pop blooms anymore. Check this out, my guy. Bam! I've got the Delua on the tank now, the X4 SPS Beast Mode bundle. So it's got 4 of the X4s and 4 of the Vitamini strip LEDs on the front and the back. So yeah, super happy about that. My cleaner wrasse is losing his mind, but he's cool. I like him. Super cool fish. But yeah, I'm still a reef keeper, you guys. I'm still a hobbyist. I still want cool stuff, you know? So I had the pop blooms, and the pop blooms did great. But I personally wanted to really push my corals into some new colorations and stuff. And it was time to try out something new. And an opportunity came up for me to get the Deluas, and I took that opportunity. So now we got Deluas on the big tank. And I also have pixels, like the freshwater version of the pixels on the refugium tank, growing algae, macroalgae, and bubble tip anemones. I've got some zoas and some other corals in there. And even under those lights that aren't real heavy blue, they're a very full spectrum light. The corals look freaking awesome. So yeah, I'm very happy with it.
My internet's glitching, so.
Your internet's glitching?
Yeah.
Of course. The Deluas are another one I want to research. Wow, on the NICRU, a lot of people love them. Yeah. Yeah. Cedric says, how about the minnow? The Hydros minnow? Yeah, it's another good one. You know, Hydros ecosystem. Some people don't like the way that it works with the updates and things like that. I will admit that I have had trouble with my Hydros staying connected to the internet. There's something about my wave engine. It might just be that it's old, but there's something about my wave engine where it doesn't want to maintain a connection. And I have run a wired connection into my fish room with a wired access point in that room 6 feet away from the wave engine, and it still drops off sometimes. But as you see, I'm having internet issues here today. So maybe it's the internet and not the wave engine. Sean says his Kamoer F1s have been great. Yes, solid. Ecotech Versa dosing pump from Richmond's Reef is a good recommendation. Yeah, I trust Richmond's Reef too. He's a good dude. Happy to see you here, by the way, man. You know, glad you made it to the stream. I know there's some hate on the black box lights like Mars Aqua and Viper Spectra, but what is your opinion on them? Do you think light diffusers help with people's complaints? So I have run Mars Aqua lights. I have run Viper Spectra lights. Those are the only two black boxes that I've ever used. And I had no issues with them. They work just fine. You know, the whole thing about light, there's two things that you need. You need power and you need spectrum. That's it. If you can get that spectrum and that power from whatever brand, it doesn't matter. You know, that's the thing. An LED is an LED. It's most people buy lights for the controllability, for the app. I like these lights because the app is good. You know, at these days, that's how people choose lights. You know, some are, I like this light because this one fixture will fit over my entire tank versus having two or three. You know, so it all doesn't really matter. I will say this. If I was going to be getting into the business of farming corals, which I have no intentions of doing, but if I was going to get into that business and I was going to purchase lights to put over my coral farms, it would be Viper Spectras. The amount of light and the amount of spread and par that you get from those lights per $1 spent you can't beat it. It's the best thing on the market now by the dollar. I mean, you can get those lights. You could put one Viper Spectra 165 over a 60-gallon cube or a 60-gallon breeder, and it'd be the only light that you needed for $138. You know, so anyway, that's kind of what I think about all that. The CC Cardinal bundle looked great at Reef Palooza. Nice combo of equipment. Very cool, man. I love the Luas, Richmond. Yeah, and you did tell me that I would like it. Yeah, we need to talk schedules. Yeah, do you have yours uploaded to the Delua app? Richmond said, "Please tell Sandy I requested to join the Oh, well, you're reading the doggone. She's reading that stuff, y'all.
Told I have 800 waiting in the queue. I'm coming.
Max had run to there for a second. Yeah, I don't know.
On the internet.
Oh, I got you. All right, let me get caught up right quick. There's a really cool one, Aqualine Smart Doser 2 or 4. I love mine. Interesting. I haven't heard of that one before. Let's see. Oh, I am caught up. Very cool. John says, my friend has 4 Chinese versions of the MP40s and 3 of the magnets have split, so be careful buying them. Yeah, but that happens with everybody, you know, and that's what's so freaking aggravating about it. You know, it used to be that you got what you paid for. That is no longer the case, because I have seen, even here recently, people have spent $800, $900 on a light, and it comes in and it's not the right light in the box, or it comes in and it's already broke. You know, $1,000 Radeon G6, you get it there and it's the Pro, not the Blue. You know, poor quality control from the company shipping the thing, putting it in the wrong box. You know, or I know one guy, I just went to his house here recently and did a consultation. He bought 3 Radeon G6 Pros, $3,000 in lights. All 3 of them had a problem. If I'm spending $1,000 per light, they better not come in with a problem. And Radion, if you have multiple issues like that with 3 different light fixtures, let's just say, they will not correct the issue for all 3 at the same time. You have to correct one issue at a time. So he had to send one light back. They verified it was the incorrect light. They sent him the new one. Then he had to send the second light back. They verified that it was broken. They sent him the new one. And then he had to send it took him like 6 weeks or 8 weeks to get his issues sorted. And those are $1,000 a pop. Drives me insane. The quality control in the industry is gone. It's just gone. You know, there was a very popular company the other day, and I'm not going to say who it is. Somebody was having a problem with their product, and they basically told them, deal with it. That was pretty much the attitude that they got back from that company. Deal with it. That's your problem. You should know how to run your system, which is true. Which is true, you know, but like have some tact, you know, or actually care about the person who just dropped $3,000 on your thing. Anyway, I'm going to get off that soapbox. That I get aggravated when people want to charge a premium for something and you don't get a premium experience. You know, if your light is $40 and it's broken, you know, when it comes in, okay, whatever, it's $40 light, I'll return it, get a new one. You know, but not if it's $1,000. Anywho, so what's going on, everybody? Let's get some more questions going in here. Talk about something else. Speaking of getting what you pay for, I hope this guy on Etsy does me right for some VRS doser brackets. I saw your order, David, which is really weird that happened because I've had those listed for quite some time. And I haven't had a single sale on them since I put them on the Etsy store. I needed them myself, so I designed them, and I figured I would just put them up there, you know? And so I did, and I haven't had a single sale on that. One day, the previous day to you placing your order for those doser brackets, I was talking to someone else about those doser brackets. And that I 3D print them and I could get them to them if they needed them, whatever. And then you made that order the next day. That was so weird. It freaked me out for a minute. I'm like, okay, what's really going on in the universe to make that happen? So anyway, I don't know. It was weird. Richmond says, are you going to make a Vidi Mini shade? I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it's pretty improbable because I can only print 10 inches wide at a time, and mine are 36 inches wide. So I would have to figure out a way to like link them together, which I already figured out. I know how to do. You know, but I don't know. It's not real probable that I'm going to make a shade for the Vidi Minis. I'm not going to say it ain't never going to happen.
We have 30 more minutes.
30 more minutes in the stream. Okay. I'm not going to say it ain't never going to happen, but I'm going to say that it probably ain't going to happen. Okay, here's what I need. I'm going to walk away over here for just a few minutes. When I come back, I need 4 new questions. Y'all, yeah, get to it. Man, my tummy hurts.
Because all this coffee.
All the coffee and everything. Yeah, that's probably true. 2 cups of coffee. I'm going to be on cloud 9 until like 10 o'clock.
Same.
I want to ask you guys something. Okay. I'll ask you that in just a minute. Let me go back. So let's double check and make sure that I haven't missed anybody. Let's see. Jamie says, was that the one you're talking about? Okay. Will you be in San Antonio on the 30th for Reef Fest? I've never been to a Reef show. So I'm not sure if that one's any good or not. I think that one's a little bit more of a local show, unfortunately. How far are we from San Antonio?
A long way.
A long way, 10, 11 hours. Yeah, no, we're not going to make that one. We went to Reefapalooza, and in 3 weeks, we're going to Reef Retreat. Yeah, 3 weeks from this weekend, we'll be in Reef Retreat in Rhode Island.
Yeah. Or-
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, we got this weekend and then 2 more, and then we go to Reef Retreat. So those 2 trips basically tapped us out for trips this year. Yeah, we're just, unless something drastic changes, we're probably not going to make any more shows unless I can drive to them within just 2 or 3 hours. So unfortunately, no, I won't be. But next year, 2026, right now we want to try to make it to all 3 Reefapaloozas, and maybe a couple more. I don't know, but we're definitely we're really gonna try to be at more shows next year. But it just gonna depend. How does your media baskets work without socks? So they replace the socks, and you fill the media basket with filter floss. What I use is, excuse me, what I use is polyfill quilt batting, just 100% pure polyacrylic, and you just cut it and stuff it down in the basket, and you just use that. And then at the end of the week, when you do your tank maintenance, you just take that filter floss out, you throw it away, put some fresh stuff in there, and you're good to go. Rich Man said, how you really doing? With content creation, family, 3D prints, how you really doing? Well, if I'm being honest, I'm exhausted. I am very tired. The only day that we take off is Monday, and we spend from the time that we wake up, which for my wife is about 5:30. I usually get up at 7 because it just is what it is. The alarm goes off at 6. I get up at 7. We spend from then until we go to bed at 9 or 9:30 doing Reef rookie stuff, 6 days a week. Monday is our only day off. I usually try to go fishing on Monday mornings if the weather permits. But yeah, man, we're busy. It takes a lot to grow a business like this when you're trying to make this the only thing that you do, you know? So it's a lot, but it's extremely rewarding. I mean, some of the stuff that we have read from people who are going over to the new private Facebook group, it's just absolutely awesome. And it's super cool to see. So we're doing okay. We're just really tired.
We're doing it.
Huh?
So we just do it.
We're just doing it. We wake up every day. We do what we can do. You know, at the end of the day, anything that was missed goes on the front of the list for the next day. And then we just hammer it out again all day long, 6 days a week. And that's the truth. I'm not exaggerating. I mean, we kind of slack a little bit on Saturday, but Saturday is a big day for participation in the group. It's when the group is most active. So we try to spend more time interacting in the group on Saturday because more people are there. And then Sunday we do the live stream, you know, and then Monday we say that we take the whole day off, but we really don't. We're in the group all day, every day, managing the group, you know, so it's a lot. But what is your recommendation for proactively managing phosphates? So phosphates come as a result of something that we put into the tank. The only way you end up with phosphates is through dying or decaying organic matter. So either animals that we put in there that die and then decay, or food that we put in the tank that doesn't get eaten and then decay, or like, let's just say algae that's in the tank and then we're trying to kill it off and get rid of it, it decays. That's where phosphates come from. So the best thing that you can do to like proactively manage your phosphates is to control your input of organic material into the tank. Aside from that, I mean, product to control phosphate is reactive. And since you're specifically asking about proactive, that's what I would say is pick high quality food that is not packed full of phosphates. I'm using Easy Reefs from DKI right now. Excellent fish food for your tank. So being proactive is all about what you put in. And being reactive is all about what you would use to take it out. A good balanced reef tank where input and export is balanced, your phosphate should remain at a relatively low level and pretty stable. So matching that import-export thing is very important. Would I benefit using the new Triton tray system in a 14? Oh, that's your question. So yeah, it could be beneficial to you if you want to keep really nice corals in that tank. I wouldn't probably use the Triton system if it's just like like a budget tank. You're just putting, $10, $20 frags in there. I wouldn't worry about it too much. But yeah, if you're going to have some nicer corals in there, absolutely. Do you have experience with aquacultured mandarins or no stories with them? Yes, usually aquacultured mandarins come in really small, like 1/2 inch big, maybe 3/4 of an inch. So almost always they're going to have to either one, go in a really tiny tank, like a 5-gallon with nothing else in it, or they're going to have to go in an acclimation box for up to a year or 18 months until they grow. If you put one of them little tiny dudes in a normal reef tank with normal reef tank flow, you're never going to see it again. So that's kind of what I would say about that. You want to take your time with that one and make sure that you have a system that is right for that little guy to be in. Can you recommend some encrusting corals for low light or shaded areas? I was thinking about Cyphastria. That would be a good one. A lot of the Montipora encrusting types, like, hang on. What is the name of that coral? Shoot. There's a bunch of encrusting Montipora, like Superman. That would be one. Sunset on the Beach, I think, is another one. There's a bunch on terrareef.com. Go to his site and look at his encrusters. There's a bunch to choose from there. Another person who has some really nice encrusting corals that don't take much par is K&P Aquaculture. So it's K and then the ampersand and P Aquaculture. It's run by Krista Bedell and her wife. And they do really awesome like coral packs for like $100 and you get like 4 corals. And there's always like one really nice one in there and then 3 really like mid-tier good ones. They'll do like a firework clove and like a sunset Monty, which is that encruster that I'm talking about. And then like 2 Zoas, and their corals are always super good. And they grow almost all of their stuff under lower par. I would also say this. I have a video on the channel about low par corals. And I'm trying to think if that video is the one with the encrusters. I talk about several. It might be the one I did. It was 26 easy to keep SPS, I think. I think that might be the one. I talked about several of the like really nice looking encrusting type of Montipora that would do well in low par. So yeah, check them out. Everything I've seen is so far from Texas. Yes. Although, Jamie, there was Reefapalooza was in Dallas this year. That's Aquashella.
It's happening like right now.
Aquashella, and it's happening this weekend right now. Is in Dallas. But yeah, I know Texas is huge. I lived in Texas for a while. I was at Fort Hood in Killeen. If you send out an ICP test, do you recommend doing water changes while you wait for the results? I mean, you still could. A water change is only really going to be like 10% maybe. It's not going to have a massive effect on the trace elements and stuff. So I wouldn't be too worried about it. Just keep that in the back of your head that, things are going to be a little bit different. Not going to be a huge difference, but they will be a little bit different. Sai says, bummer about the Radions. Just got back a Hydra 32 that we bought used, and the fan wouldn't come on even after the update. Only took about 2 weeks and the price was reasonable. I mean, that's good to hear. it's good that they're still keeping up with that kind of thing. But yeah, it's sketchy sometimes. John says many reefers are increasing phosphate and nitrate and finding corals growing better. What's your opinion? It depends on the species of corals. That said, anything that you feed more will grow more. No question about it. What we are trying to do is strike a balance in nutrients that grows corals but inhibits algae growth. But what we're finding out now, see, back in the day, we used to shoot for 0 nitrate, 0 phosphate. That's what we want. Back in the day, we used to have tanks that had coral skeleton in them instead of rocks. And we would take that stuff out of the tank once a week and bleach it, clean it, dry it, and put it back in the tank. It was stark white all the time. That was what we were shooting for. That's what we thought back then was the right way to do it. We now know that isn't the case. And where we're going now with the hobby is higher nutrient for more health and faster coral growth and larger cleanup crews to deal with the resulting algae of having the higher nutrients. So rather than trying to strip out everything in the tank and stop things from growing, we're trying to coax things into growing better and putting things in the tank that are going to eat the stuff we don't want. That's kind of where we're headed, generally speaking, as a hobby. And yeah, there was somebody that did a study not that long ago, and he ran his tank for different periods of time at different phosphate levels with correlating nitrates too, but it was more so a study on phosphate. And what he found was that his acropora were growing the fastest at 0.5 phosphate, which is real high. That's way higher than anybody's going to recommend that you run your reef tank right now. So yeah, it's always a balance. But I agree. If you feed something more, it's going to grow more. That's just, simple biology. Humans are the same way, same thing. So yeah, I definitely can see us moving towards that in the future. That's how I like to run my tanks. My tank is ultra low nutrient. Well, not ultra low, but it's low nutrients right now. My nitrate are 5. No, my last test, my nitrate were 2. And my phosphate were 0.03. So that's very low for me. I don't like being down there. So yeah, I would prefer my nitrate phosphate to be higher, even if I'm getting some algae growth, and put things in the tank that are going to eat that algae. Just my thoughts. Recently, I bought 15 pounds of live rock from a local fish store. He assured me this would boost my nitrogen process. Is that a good deal? And do you think it was a good pointer? Yeah, for sure. If it's established live rock that has bacteria in it that's been in a system for a little while, that's a great thing to add to your tank, and it will help with the nitrogen cycle for sure. I was also told to run my lights on for the whole cycle, but read a lot of people advise against it. I run my lights during the cycle because I want the ugly face to show up sooner than later. You're just delaying the inevitable when you don't run your lights during the nitrogen cycle. And some people will say that if you do the lights on during the cycle, that you are you're growing photosynthetic bacteria that are out competing the non-photosynthetic bacteria, which are responsible for the nitrogen cycle. It's a valid argument. I can see the point that they're trying to make in that argument. Me, I run them puppies from day one because I want the diatoms and all that crap to show up as soon as possible, because the sooner it gets here, sooner I can get rid of it, and sooner I can have the tank looking how I want it to look. Let's see what we got. Lyle says, the rock will help. Also, don't run your lights during the cycle. Yeah, see, so Lyle says don't run your lights, which is cool. If that's the way Lyle sets his tanks up and is comfortable, then that's good. No big deal. It works both ways. I guess I should add the caveat that I do that with 28 years of experience in the hobby. Sometimes I forget that. So if I am running my lights during the cycle and something kicks off, I'm going to be able to identify it really quickly and be able to know what to do immediately to take care of it. And maybe everybody doesn't have that experience, and maybe that's not exactly what they should do, but ultimately you have to make that decision for yourself, If you know how to deal with cyano and diatoms and dinoflagellates and things like that, then sure. If you don't, that's not bad. You just haven't got there yet. Then maybe don't run your lights during the cycle. Let it take slower and or take more time and learn those things over a longer period of time. You know, there's no wrong way to do it. It's just different ways of doing it. We're all going to end up in the same place in the end anyway. Yo, Soft is back. Thank you so much for being a YouTube channel member. I really appreciate that. It's early morning. Thanks for popping by. Well, good to see you. And yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to help you guys for sure. Do you have any videos on setup and using of dosing pumps? No, unfortunately, as of now, I don't. I don't have any videos on that. So I apologize for that, but there are so many different ones on the market. I would almost have to do a different video for each different kind of dosing pump. And that's just not something that I can do. At least not yet. Might happen in the future, but I can't do it right now. The only ones that I have are old school BRS 1-to-1 dosers, and you can't set those things. They are what they are. They're a one speed, one state thing, and you turn them on and you turn them off. That's all you can do. So it'd be a really boring video. And then I have the Jabo DP4 4-port doser, the non-Wi-Fi one. And there's already videos out there on that one that show exactly what to do. I had to look up one of those videos to make sure I was programming the thing correctly. So, you know, again, that would be like a really repetitive video for me to do. So I haven't done that one either. But yeah, Harris County was rough on me in 2004. Okay. Well, I'm glad, you know, okay, guys, I did not anticipate this, but we are going to have to go ahead and call it. My phone just flashed the 5% battery warning, and I don't have anywhere to plug my phone up right now. But we're almost there. We're 2 hours and 46 minutes in. We were going to have another 15 minutes. It's all good. So John says his phosphates are 0.5 and the corals look great. Cool. Hey, send it. If it's good, go. Do you run a UV? Only when I need to. I have one. It's not on full time right now. Triton recommended that I don't do that when I started the Trace Element program. So I don't run it full time. Last thing, Richmond's Reef said this was a good live. Well, I appreciate it, man. I had a really good time doing the live with you guys today. Make sure that if you're not, you go and join the new private Facebook group. Check the old group featured post for all the information about moving over to the new private group. It's going to be an awesome space. Thanks, everybody, so much. Yeah, KZ, coralline algae. Keep your water parameters in good range and ratio where they need to be, especially alkalinity and pH. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for me for this live stream. We almost made it to 3 hours, but I've got 2% now on my battery, so I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye on this one, and we will see you all in the next one. Bye. Boop.